The moment the furniture store owner called Vanessa his wife, Liam watched something break behind her eyes, something he'd spent 6 years pretending not to notice. By the time he laughed it off, the damage was already done. 3 weeks later, a stranger in an expensive suit would walk into her life with a contract designed to destroy everything she'd built. And Liam would have exactly one night to prove that loving someone across impossible distances wasn't just a fantasy, he told himself at 2 a.m. when his daughter was asleep, and the silence got too loud. If you want to see how far a single joke can unravel 6 years of carefully buried feelings, stay with me until the end. Hit that like button and drop a comment with your city so I can see how far this story travels. Liam Carter learned to sand wood the same way he learned to raise a daughter, through sheer necessity and YouTube videos watched at midnight when the rest of Portland was asleep. At 32, his hands carried the evidence of both educations: calluses from belt sanders, a scar across his left thumb from the time Emma knocked over his coffee while he was cutting trim, and the permanent paint stains under his fingernails that no amount of industrial soap could fully erase. The house on Belmont Street wasn't much to look at from the outside. Peeling siding, a porch that sagged on the left side, windows that rattled when the wind picked up. But Liam saw past all that. He always had. Where others saw a tear down, he saw crown molding under the drop ceiling, original hardwood under the stained carpet, a fireplace mantel buried behind drywall. Someone had installed in the 70s. He was on his knees in what used to be the dining room, prying up the carpet tack strips, when his phone buzzed against his thigh. Vanessa. I did something impulsive. Liam sat back on his heels, wiping sweat from his forehead with the back of his wrist. Vanessa Sinclair didn't do impulsive. Vanessa did quarterly projections and market analysis and million-dollar acquisitions that she'd been planning for 6 months. Impulsive was not in her vocabulary. Liam. Should I be worried? Vanessa. I bought an apartment. Liam. That's literally your job. Vanessa. Not for the company. For me. To live in. Liam stared at the screen. In 6 years of friendship, Vanessa had lived in exactly one place, a penthouse downtown that came with her position as CEO of Sinclair Properties. Floor-to-ceiling windows, a doorman who wore white gloves, a kitchen she'd never cooked in because she worked 16-hour days and ate most of her meals in boardrooms. Liam. You bought a place to live in? Vanessa. Don't sound so shocked. Liam. I'm processing. Where is it? Vanessa. Riverside. Near that coffee shop you like. The one with the weird sculptures. Liam. Java Haven? With the metal octopus? Vanessa. That's the one. The apartment has a view of the water. Old building, lots of character. It needs work. Liam. How much work? Vanessa. That's why I'm texting you. Liam looked around the gutted dining room, at the exposed studs and the pile of ruined carpet in the corner and the box of sandpaper he'd been working through for the past 3 days. He had 4 more houses lined up after this one. His schedule was packed through October. Liam. When do you want to start? Vanessa. I love you. Liam. Yeah. Send me the address. He pocketed his phone and went back to the tax strips, but his mind was already somewhere else. Vanessa buying an apartment for herself was like Vanessa admitting she was human. It meant something. He just wasn't sure what yet. The apartment was on the 3rd floor of a converted warehouse that smelled like old wood and the river. No elevator, which meant Liam climbed 62 steps carrying his toolbox, while Vanessa glided ahead in heels that probably cost more than his truck payment. You're gonna break your neck on these stairs, he said when he reached the landing. I like the exercise. She was already unlocking the door. Besides, it keeps out the weak. Is that your new tenant screening process? I'm the only tenant. She pushed the door open. That's the point. The apartment was smaller than he'd expected. Maybe 1,200 square feet, which for Vanessa was like moving into a shoebox. But the light was incredible. Huge windows along the far wall, the Willamette River visible beyond the glass. The kind of natural brightness that made you want to sit on the floor and read a book. The space was completely empty. No furniture, no curtains, nothing but bare walls and hardwood floors that needed refinishing and the echo of their footsteps. What do you think? Vanessa asked. Liam set his toolbox down and walked to the windows. The view really was something. You could see the bridges, the downtown skyline, joggers moving along the riverside path below. It felt like a different city from up here. Quieter. More forgiving. I think you overpaid, what? He said. I know I overpaid. That's not what I asked. I think it's going to be a lot of work. That's not what I asked either. He turned to look at her. She was standing in the middle of the empty room with her arms crossed, and there was something different about her expression, something uncertain. Vanessa was never uncertain. I think it's perfect, he said quietly. She smiled. It was a real smile, not the professional one she used in meetings or the careful one she deployed at charity galas. Just Vanessa, genuinely happy. Good, because I have no idea what I'm doing, and I need you to help me figure it out. Yitsen. They started with paint colors. Vanessa had brought samples, dozens of them, little squares of cream and beige and something called accessible beige that looked exactly like regular beige to Liam. These all look the same, he said, holding up 2 samples. They're completely different. This one is warm. This one is cool. They're beige. You have no eye for subtlety. I have an eye for things that matter. You want the warm one. Why? Because this whole wall is windows facing north. You're going to lose light. Warm tones will balance it out. She studied the samples again, then looked at him. How do you know that? I renovate houses for a living, Vanessa. You know what I mean. He shrugged. I pay attention. She added the warm beige to her yes pile. They worked through the rest of the samples, Liam offering opinions she pretended to ignore before ultimately agreeing with. By the time they finished, the sun had moved across the sky, and the apartment was filled with golden light. We need furniture, Vanessa said. You need a lot of things. Furniture is pretty far down the list. What's at the top? Working outlets, a refrigerator that doesn't sound like it's dying, window treatments so your neighbors don't watch you sleep. I meant after all that. After all that, yeah, furniture would be good. Vanessa pulled out her phone. There's a designer I've worked with before, very exclusive. She did the lobby at the Sinclair Tower. You want the same person who decorated a corporate lobby to make this place feel like home? She paused. What would you suggest? There's a place on Hawthorne, independent, local. They make custom pieces, real wood, not particle board. The owner's a little weird, but the work is solid. Weird how? He has strong opinions about joinery. That's not weird, that's passionate. You say that now? She pocketed her phone. Fine. We'll go to your weird furniture place. But if he tries to lecture me about mortise and tenon joints, I'm leaving. Deal. Emma was already asleep when Liam got home. Mrs. Chen from next door was watching TV in his living room, volume low. She ate all her dinner, Mrs. Chen reported. Finished her homework. Tried to negotiate staying up until you got home. Let me guess. She lost the negotiation. She's 7. She always loses. Mrs. Chen gathered her knitting bag. You were out late. Work thing. At night? Planning meeting. It wasn't exactly a lie. They had been planning. Just not work in the traditional sense. Mrs. Chen gave him a look that said she didn't entirely believe him, but wasn't going to push it. That friend of yours called earlier, the fancy one. Vanessa? She wanted to know Emma's favorite color. I told her purple. Was I supposed to say it's a secret? No, that's... Liam stopped. Why did she want to know that? Mrs. Chen shrugged. Rich people ask strange questions. Maybe she's buying Emma something purple. After she left, Liam checked on Emma. She was sprawled across her bed, one arm hanging off the side, her stuffed rabbit wedged under her cheek. He straightened her blanket and moved the rabbit to a less neck-cramping position. On his way out, he noticed the drawing taped to her wall. New since this morning. A crayon family, a tall stick figure labeled Dad, a smaller stick figure labeled Me, and a third figure with yellow hair and a triangle dress labeled Auntie V. Auntie V was holding the stick figure Emma's hand. Liam stood there longer than he meant to, looking at that drawing, at the 3 figures standing together like they belonged that way. The furniture store on Hawthorne was called Timber and Grain. which Liam had always thought sounded like an artisanal bread company. The owner, Marcus, was exactly the kind of person who named his store after wood characteristics. He met them at the door wearing a canvas apron and sawdust in his graying beard. Liam Carter, it's been, what, 6 months? 8. I bought those bedside tables for the Belmont house. The ones with the dovetail drawers. Good choice. Marcus's attention shifted to Vanessa. And you are? Vanessa Sinclair. We're furnishing an apartment, Liam said quickly, before Marcus could recognize her name. Riverside location, good light, open floor plan. She needs everything. Marcus's eyes lit up. Everything? Within reason. Reason is subjective. Come on, I'll show you what I have. The store was part showroom, part workshop. Finished pieces in the front, raw lumber and half-assembled projects in the back. It smelled like linseed oil and fresh-cut wood. Vanessa moved through the space like she was appraising it, which she probably was. Real estate people never stopped evaluating square footage. This sofa, Marcus said, gesturing to a low-backed piece in charcoal gray. Walnut frame, 8-way hand-tied springs. This will outlive you. Cheerful, Vanessa murmured. I'm not selling cheerful, I'm selling quality. Sit. She sat. Liam watched her sink into the cushions, watched her expression shift from skeptical to surprised. Oh, she said. Yeah. Oh, Mom. Marcus crossed his arms. That's 3 months of work you're sitting on. I don't do fast furniture. How much? For that piece? $4,200. Vanessa didn't flinch. Liam had seen her negotiate million-dollar deals. $4,200 might as well have been pocket change. But something in her posture had relaxed. She looked comfortable. She looked like she might actually live in this apartment instead of just owning it. I'll take it, she said. They spent the next 2 hours wandering through the store. A dining table made from reclaimed barnwood, chairs with spindle backs, a bookshelf that Marcus had built from a tree that fell in his backyard during the last ice storm. Every piece had a story, and Marcus told all of them whether they asked or not. You need a coffee table, Marcus said, leading them to the back corner. I just finished this one. White oak, live edge, steel base. It was beautiful in an understated way. The kind of piece that would age well, that would show its wear like character instead of damage. What do you think? Vanessa asked Liam. I think you should trust your own judgment. I'm trusting yours. You know this stuff better than I do. It's your apartment. It's our project. The word our did something strange to his chest. He covered it by crouching down to examine the table's joinery. Flawless, obviously. Marcus didn't do sloppy work. It's a good piece, he said finally. Then I want it. Marcus made notes on his tablet. You've got good taste for someone who looks like she shops at Restoration Hardware. I'll take that as a compliment. It is, mostly. Marcus looked between them. How long have you two been married? The question landed like a physical thing. Liam felt it hit his sternum. We're not, Vanessa started. Oh, sorry. My mistake. Marcus didn't sound sorry. You just have that vibe. The way you finish each other's sentences. Check in before deciding. We're friends, Liam said. His voice came out rougher than intended. Sure. Friends who are furnishing an apartment together. Marcus shrugged. None of my business anyway. You want to see lamps? He walked away, leaving Liam and Vanessa standing next to the white oak coffee table. The air felt different, charged with something Liam couldn't name. That was awkward, Vanessa said lightly. Yeah, people assume things. They do. She was looking at him the way she sometimes did, like she was trying to solve an equation that didn't quite balance. Liam had learned to deflect that look. It was safer that way. Lamps, he said. We should probably look at lamps. Right, lamps, as they followed Marcus to the lighting section. The moment passed. Or maybe it didn't pass. Maybe it just went underground, waiting. They found a floor lamp with a green glass shade that cast warm light across everything it touched. Vanessa made Liam turn it on and off 3 times to watch how the light changed the room. This one, she said finally. You sure? We haven't looked at the others. I don't need to see the others. I know what I like when I see it. Marcus rang them up. The total came to just under $18,000, which was insane for furniture, but apparently normal in Vanessa's world. She handed over a credit card without blinking. Delivery will be in 3 weeks, Marcus said. We'll call the day before to confirm. Perfect. Vanessa shook his hand. Thank you. Thank your husband. He's the one who brought you here. There it was again, that word, husband. Liam felt Vanessa go still beside him. Oh, we're not, she started. Actually, Liam interrupted, and he still doesn't know why he did it. Maybe it was the way Marcus kept assuming. Maybe it was the way Vanessa kept correcting him. And each correction felt like she was putting distance between them. Maybe he was just tired of pretending their friendship was simple when it had never been simple. Not once in 6 years. Actually, she stuck with me, Liam finished. He meant it as a joke. Light, easy. The kind of thing you say to deflect an awkward moment. But Vanessa's face did something complicated. Her smile went brittle at the edges. Her eyes got bright in a way that had nothing to do with the overhead lights. Yeah, she said quietly. Stuck. Marcus laughed. Aren't we all? Delivery in 3 weeks, Mr. and Mrs. Carter. C'est parce que. Liam opened his mouth to correct him, but Vanessa was already walking toward the door. He followed her out into the afternoon sunlight, onto the sidewalk where tourists were taking photos of the vintage signs and the coffee shop across the street was putting out their chalkboard. Vanessa, that was fun. Her voice was too bright. We should celebrate. Want to grab dinner? I need to pick up Emma. Right, of course. She was already pulling out her phone. I'll call a car. Thanks for today. Really, I couldn't have done this without you. Vanessa, wait. I'll text you about paint colors. We still need to finalize those. She was typing on her phone, not looking at him. And the contractor for the bathroom. I have someone in mind, but I want your opinion first. Can you look at me for a second? Almost son. She did. Her eyes were too bright, her smile too perfect. It was the face she used in boardrooms, the one that meant she'd already made a decision and was done discussing it. I'm looking, she said. What just happened in there? Nothing happened. We bought furniture. Isn't that what we came here to do? You know what I mean. I really don't. A black car pulled up to the curb. Perfect timing. Like she'd summoned it through sheer force of will. That's my ride, she said. I'll talk to you later, okay? She was in the car before he could respond. He watched it pull away from the curb, merge into traffic, disappear around the corner. Watched until there was nothing left to watch. His phone buzzed. Mrs. Chen. Emma wants to know if Auntie V is coming to dinner. Liam looked at the empty street where Vanessa's car had been. Liam, not tonight. The next 3 days were strange. Vanessa texted about paint colors and contractor bids and light fixtures, but the text felt different, professional, distant, like she was messaging a colleague instead of someone she'd known for 6 years. Liam told himself he was imagining it, but on Thursday, when he suggested they meet at the apartment to take measurements, she said she was busy. On Friday, when he sent her photos of crown molding options, she responded 3 hours later with, whatever you think is best. Vanessa never said whatever you think is best. Vanessa had opinions about everything from doorknob finishes to grout color. Saturday morning, Emma wanted to go to the farmer's market. They went to the one on the waterfront, the big one with the kettle corn and the local honey, and the weird guy who sold carved wooden spoons. Emma was investigating a table of handmade soaps when Liam saw her. Vanessa, standing by a flower vendor, talking to someone Liam didn't recognize. Tall guy, expensive suit despite the casual Saturday setting, the kind of watch that said money without trying. He had his hand on Vanessa's lower back, proprietary, familiar. Vanessa laughed at something the guy said. It looked real. Liam grabbed Emma's hand. Let's go look at the kettle corn, but I want the lavender soap. We'll come back. You said that last time and we didn't come back. Emma, please. Something in his voice made her stop arguing. They walked in the opposite direction, away from the flower vendor and Vanessa and the guy who touched her like he had the right. Behind them, Liam heard Vanessa laugh again. The sound followed him all the way to the kettle corn stand. He didn't text her about it. What would he even say? Saw you at the farmer's market with some guy. Want to explain? They were friends. Friends didn't owe each other explanations about who they spent time with. Except they'd been furnishing an apartment together. Except she'd gone quiet after the furniture store. Except the way that guy touched her made Liam want to break something. Sunday night, his phone rang. Vanessa's name on the screen. He almost didn't answer, but 6 years of friendship had taught him that Vanessa didn't call unless it mattered. "Hey," he said. "I need to talk to you about something." Her voice was careful. "Do you have a minute?" "Yeah." "Not on the phone? Can we meet?" Liam looked at the clock. 8:30. Emma was asleep. Mrs. Chen was probably watching her crime shows. "When?" he asked. "Now?" "Vanessa, please." He called Mrs. Chen. 20 minutes later, he was driving toward the Riverside apartment, the one they'd been working on together, the one that suddenly felt like it belonged to someone else. Vanessa was waiting outside the building. She'd been crying. He could tell even from the truck, even in the dark. He parked illegally and got out. "What happened?" he asked. "Can we go inside?" They climbed the 62 steps in silence. She unlocked the apartment, and they stepped into the empty space. Someone had painted since the last time he was here. The walls were the warm beige they'd chosen together. It looked good. It looked like home. "I'm sorry," Vanessa said. She was standing in the middle of the room, arms wrapped around herself. "I've been avoiding you. I noticed. I didn't know what to say." "About what?" "About the furniture store. About what you said." Liam's stomach dropped. "Vanessa, I was joking. I didn't mean to make you uncomfortable." "That's the problem." She finally looked at him. "You were joking." The apartment was very quiet. Outside, the river moved past like it always did, indifferent to human complications. "I don't understand," Liam said. "Liam, when Marcus called me your wife, She stopped, started again. "For just a second, I let myself imagine it was true. And then you laughed, and I remembered it wasn't, and it hurt worse than it should have." "Vanessa, let me finish. Please." She took a breath. "I've been lying to myself for a long time, telling myself we were just friends. That what I felt was just friendship. But friends don't feel like their heart stops when someone makes a joke about being married. Friends don't spend 6 years waiting for something to change." The words landed between them like stones into still water, rippling outward, changing everything. "I met someone," Vanessa continued. "His name is Julian. He's in real estate development, very successful, very appropriate for someone like me. The guy from the farmer's market. You saw us?" "Yeah, he's everything I should want. And when I'm with him, I don't feel like I'm waiting for you to see me as something other than your friend who happens to be a billionaire." Liam felt something cracking in his chest. "Vanessa, I can't keep doing this," she said. "I can't keep pretending my feelings are simple when they're not. So I need you to tell me if there's any chance at all, that you feel the same way. Because if you don't, I need to move on. I need to find someone who can give me what you can't." The apartment waited. The city waited. Liam's entire future waited on what he said next. And he froze, because there was Emma to think about. Emma, who called Vanessa Auntie V and drew pictures of the three of them together. Emma, who had already lost one parent and didn't deserve to lose another when this inevitably fell apart. Because there was the difference in their bank accounts. Vanessa could buy $18,000 of furniture without flinching. Liam drove a truck with 200,000 miles and budgeted for Mrs. Chen's babysitting. Because there were 6 years of friendship that would shatter if he got this wrong. Because he was scared. "I think you should see where things go with Julian," he heard himself say. "You deserve someone who can give you everything. Someone who fits into your world." Vanessa went very still. "That's your answer? I'm not what you need." "You don't get to decide what I need." "Vanessa, yeah. Get out." "What?" "Get out of my apartment, please." Her voice didn't break. That was somehow worse than if it had. She just stood there in the middle of the empty room they'd planned together, the paint color they'd chosen together, the light from the green lamp they'd picked together, and asked him to leave. Liam left. He made it to his truck before he had to stop and press his forehead against the steering wheel. Behind him, the apartment building sat dark except for one window on the 3rd floor. The light went off while he watched. His phone stayed silent the whole drive home. Mrs. Chen took one look at his face and didn't ask questions. She just patted his arm and went home. Liam checked on Emma, still asleep, still safe, still whole in ways he wasn't sure he'd ever be again. He sat on the couch in the dark and replayed the conversation. Every word, every pause, every moment he could have said something different. Something true. I've loved you since the day you showed up at my house with a toolbox and helped me fix Emma's crib. I've loved you through every board meeting, every charity gala, every moment you pretended your world and mine could coexist. I've loved you so much it scared me into silence. He could have said that. Instead, he told her to date someone else. His phone buzzed. For one desperate second, he thought it might be her. But it was just a notification, a reminder he'd set weeks ago. V's apartment, final paint decision. He deleted it. Then he sat in the dark and tried to figure out how you unfeel something you'd been feeling for 6 years. The apartment on Belmont still needed work. The houses after that needed work. Emma needed breakfast in the morning and help with her science project and someone to braid her hair before school. Life kept going. It just felt emptier than it had before. 3 days later, Vanessa posted a photo on social media. Her and Julian at some gallery opening, both of them dressed like they belonged in a magazine. The caption said something about supporting local artists. She looked happy. Liam didn't look at it twice. He threw himself into work, finished the Belmont house ahead of schedule, started on the next one, came home exhausted every night and fell asleep before he could think too hard about anything. Emma asked about Auntie V exactly once. Is she mad at us? Emma asked over dinner. No, sweetheart, she's just busy. With her new boyfriend? Liam's fork stopped halfway to his mouth. How do you know about that? I'm 7, not stupid. Mrs. Chen talks about it with her friends. Mrs. Chen needs to be more careful. Are you sad? I'm fine. Emma gave him a look that said she didn't believe him, but wasn't going to push it. She was 7 years old and already better at emotional intelligence than he was. That night, after she was asleep, Liam pulled up Vanessa's contact in his phone, stared at it, put the phone down, picked it up again. He typed, I'm sorry. He deleted it. He typed, I miss you. He deleted it. He typed, I lied. I lied about everything and I don't know how to fix it. He deleted it. Finally, he put the phone away and went to bed. Tomorrow, he'd finish the hardwood floors. Tomorrow, he'd pick up Emma from school. Tomorrow, he'd keep building other people's homes while the one he wanted stayed permanently out of reach. Tomorrow, he'd be fine. Tonight, he let himself not be. 2 weeks became 3. 3 became a month. Liam stopped checking his phone every 5 minutes, stopped opening social media to torture himself with photos of Vanessa and Julian at restaurant openings and charity events and weekend trips to wine country. Stopped expecting her name to appear on his screen. The silence between them felt permanent now, like something that had calcified into bone. He was replacing a rotted window frame on a house in Laurelhurst when his phone actually did ring. Unknown number. He almost sent it to voicemail, but contractors called from random numbers all the time. This is Liam. Mr. Carter? This is Patricia from Timber and Grain. I'm calling about the furniture order for Vanessa Sinclair. Liam set down his drill. What about it? The pieces are ready for delivery. We have you listed as the secondary contact. Miss Sinclair hasn't responded to our calls or emails for the past week, and we need to schedule a delivery date. Have you tried her assistant? Her assistant directed us back to you. She said, and I quote, Mr. Carter handles all matters related to the Riverside property. Of course she did, because Vanessa was thorough even when she was cutting you out of her life. She'd make sure the apartment got finished. She just didn't need Liam there for it anymore. I'll reach out to her, Liam said. Give me a day. We appreciate it. The sooner we can deliver, the better. We have other orders backing up. After Patricia hung up, Liam stared at his phone. He pulled up Vanessa's contact. The last message between them was from 5 weeks ago. Her asking about paint colors. Him saying the warm beige looked good. He typed, Timber and Grain called. Furniture is ready. They need to schedule delivery. He hit send before he could overthink it. The 3 dots appeared almost immediately, then disappeared, then appeared again. Vanessa, I'll handle it. Liam, they said you weren't responding. Vanessa, I've been busy. Liam, I can be there for delivery if you can't. The dots appeared and stayed there for almost a minute. Vanessa, that won't be necessary. Julian offered to help. Something sharp twisted in Liam's gut. Julian. Of course. Julian who fit into her world. Julian who probably had opinions about furniture placement and throw pillow arrangements. Liam. Okay. Vanessa. Thank you for letting me know. That was it. No, how have you been? No, we should talk. No acknowledgement that they'd once been people who talked every day about nothing and everything. Just thank you for letting me know, like he was customer service. Liam pocketed his phone and went back to the window frame. The wood came away in pieces, rotted through from years of water damage. Some things you couldn't fix. You just had to replace them entirely and hope the new pieces held. Emma's school was having a fall festival. Pumpkin painting, apple bobbing, a bake sale where everything cost $3 regardless of what it was. Liam had signed up to help run the beanbag toss because apparently he couldn't say no to the PTA president when she cornered him at pickup. He was setting up the targets when Emma came running over, purple ribbons streaming from her pigtails. Dad! Dad! Auntie V is here! Liam's hands went still on the beanbags. What? She's by the cakewalk. She has a fancy purse. Emma grabbed his hand. Come on! Emma, I'm supposed to... But she was already dragging him across the field, past the pumpkin patch and the face-painting station and the table where Mrs. Rodriguez was selling empanadas. And there she was. Vanessa Sinclair standing next to the cakewalk in designer jeans and a cashmere sweater that probably cost more than the entire festival budget, looking completely out of place and somehow still magnetic. She was talking to another parent, smiling that professional smile that didn't reach her eyes. Emma dropped Liam's hand and launched herself at Vanessa like a tiny missile. Auntie V! Vanessa caught her, genuine surprise breaking through the polished exterior. Emma! Hi, sweetheart. I didn't know you were coming. Are you here to watch me win the cakewalk? You can't win the cakewalk. It's random, Liam said, catching up to them. He couldn't look directly at Vanessa. It felt like staring at the sun. Not if you have strategy, Emma insisted. That's not how cakewalks work. That's quitter talk. Emma turned back to Vanessa. Are you staying for the whole thing? Dad's doing the beanbag toss. He's really bad at it. I'm running it, not playing it. Last year you played it and lost to a kindergartner. That kindergartner had an unfair advantage. What advantage? I don't want to talk about it. Vanessa laughed. It was a real laugh, not the careful one from her social media photos. The sound of it hit Liam somewhere behind his ribs. I'd love to stay, Vanessa said to Emma, but I'm actually meeting someone. I just stopped by to drop off a donation. Is it Julian? Emma asked with the bluntness of a 7-year-old who hadn't learned to read a room yet. Vanessa's smile flickered. Yes, he's very interested in supporting local schools. Is he nice? Emma? Liam warned. What? I'm just asking. He's very nice, Vanessa said. She finally looked at Liam. It lasted maybe 2 seconds before she looked away. I should go. He's probably waiting. You should come to dinner sometime, Emma said. We're having spaghetti on Tuesday. It's not fancy, but Dad makes it really good. That's very sweet, but please? I drew you a new picture. It's a unicorn wearing a crown. You have to see it. Vanessa crouched down to Emma's level. I promise I'll see it soon, okay? Maybe your dad can send me a photo. It's not the same. I know. Vanessa brushed a ribbon out of Emma's face, but sometimes not the same is what we get. She stood up, gave Liam a nod that might have been a goodbye or might have been nothing at all, and walked away. Liam watched her go, watched her meet up with Julian near the parking lot, watched Julian put his arm around her waist like he'd done it 1,000 times before. Dad? Emma tugged his sleeve. Are you okay? Yeah, kiddo, I'm fine. You look sad. I'm not sad. I'm just thinking. About Auntie V, about beanbags. We should get back to the booth. Emma didn't believe him. He could tell. But she let him deflect, and they walked back to the beanbag toss in silence. The furniture was delivered on a Thursday. Liam knew because Vanessa posted a photo of the finished apartment later that evening. The green lamp glowing in the corner. The white oak coffee table centered perfectly on a cream-colored rug he'd never seen before. The charcoal sofa positioned to face the windows. It looked beautiful. It looked like everything they'd planned. The caption read, "Finally home." Julian was tagged in the photo. Liam didn't click on his profile. He didn't need to see more. He was closing the app when a text came through from a number he didn't recognize. Unknown. Is this Liam Carter? Liam. Who's asking? Unknown. Julian Pierce. I got your number from Vanessa's phone. Hope that's okay. It absolutely was not okay, but Liam couldn't exactly say that. Liam. What do you need? Julian. I wanted to thank you for all the work you did on Vanessa's apartment. She speaks very highly of your craftsmanship. Liam. No problem. Julian. I also wanted to reach out because I have a business proposition for you. Liam stared at the phone. This was either the strangest coincidence or the worst possible development. Liam. What kind of proposition? Julian. I'm developing a luxury property in Lake Oswego, high-end residential. I need someone who can handle custom millwork, built-ins, that level of finished carpentry. Vanessa said you're the best in Portland. She'd said that. Even after everything, she'd said that. Sure. Liam. I appreciate the offer, but my schedule is pretty full. Julian. I'd make it worth your while. This is a significant project. 6-figure budget just for the finish work. 6 figures. That was replace the truck money. That was Emma's college fund money. That was financial security in a way Liam hadn't experienced since before his ex-wife left. Julian. Think about it. No pressure. I'd love to meet in person to discuss details if you're interested. Liam. I'll think about it. Julian. Perfect. By the way, you should stop by Vanessa's place sometime. See how everything turned out. I know she'd appreciate your professional opinion. The message felt wrong somehow. Like there was something underneath it Liam couldn't quite identify. He didn't respond. Saturday morning, Mrs. Chen cornered him at the mailbox. You look terrible, she announced. Good morning to you too. When was the last time you slept? I sleep. You have bags under your bags. This is about that fancy friend of yours, isn't it? I don't want to talk about it. Too bad. You're going to listen. Mrs. Chen crossed her arms. I've known you 5 years. I watched you rebuild your life after Emma's mother left. You were a mess then too, but at least you were trying. Now you're just going through the motions. I'm fine. You're a liar and a coward. That stung. Excuse me? You heard me? That woman loves you. Anyone with eyes can see it, and you love her, but you're so busy being afraid that you're going to lose something you never actually tried to have. It's not that simple. It never is. But simple and right aren't the same thing. Mrs. Chen softened slightly. Emma asked me yesterday why Auntie V doesn't visit anymore. What am I supposed to tell her? Tell her the truth. Tell her Auntie V has her own life. The truth is that her father is too scared to fight for something that matters. But I'm not going to tell a 7-year-old that. She walked back to her house, leaving Liam standing by the mailbox with a stack of bills and the uncomfortable feeling that she was absolutely right. Julian called on Monday. Liam, I was hoping to catch you. Do you have time to meet this week? I'd love to show you the Lake Oswego property. Liam was lying under a sink, trying to fix a leak that shouldn't exist in a pipe this new. I'm pretty slammed. It wouldn't take long. An hour, tops. I really think this could be a great opportunity for both of us. Something about Julian's voice set Liam's teeth on edge. Too smooth, too practiced, like he was reading from a script designed to manipulate. How did you get my number again? Liam asked. Vanessa's phone, I mentioned that. Right, and she was okay with you just going through her contacts? A pause. We're very close. We share everything. Must be nice. It is. She's an incredible woman. I'm sure you know that, having worked with her. The past tense wasn't accidental. Worked, past, done. Look, Julian, I appreciate the offer, but I don't think I'm the right fit for your project. You haven't even heard the details. I don't need to. I have enough work. Vanessa said you were particular about your clients. Julian's tone shifted, got slightly harder. I respect that, but I have to ask, are you turning down the job because you don't think I'm good enough for her? Liam sat up so fast he hit his head on the sink. What? It's obvious you two have history. She talks about you constantly. Liam this, Liam that, the apartment we built together. Julian let that last part land. I'm not blind. I know there's something there. There's nothing there. Then why can't you stand the thought of me being with her? I never said... You didn't have to. It's in every short text, every declined meeting, every excuse you make to avoid seeing her. Julian's voice went quiet, almost kind. I get it. You had your chance. You didn't take it. Now she's moved on. That must be hard. Liam's hand tightened around the phone. You don't know what you're talking about. Don't I? Here's what I know. Vanessa Sinclair is brilliant, beautiful, and wealthy beyond most people's imagination. She could have anyone. And for some reason, she spent 6 years awaiting for a contractor with a kid to see her as more than a friend. Julian paused. But you didn't, so she's with me now. And I'm not going to waste her time the way you did. The line went dead. Liam sat there on the bathroom floor, phone still pressed to his ear, rage and shame, and something else warring in his chest. Julian was right. About all of it, Liam had wasted her time, had been too scared to risk what they had for what they could be. But something about that conversation felt calculated, like Julian had been trying to provoke exactly this reaction. Liam pulled up his laptop and typed Julian Pierce's name into the search bar. The first page of results was exactly what you'd expect. Professional headshot, LinkedIn profile listing his development company, photos from charity events and business conferences. Everything polished and perfect. But on the third page, buried under the professional veneer, was a news article from Sacramento. Local developer faces fraud allegations. Liam clicked it. The article was 2 years old. It detailed a luxury development project that had promised investors massive returns. High-end condos in a prime location. Pre-sales had been strong. And then the developer, Julian Pierce, had disappeared. The project had never broken ground. Investors had lost millions. No charges had been filed. Julian had apparently refunded some of the money and settled the rest out of court. But the pattern was there. Big promises, flashy presentations, money that vanished into legal gray areas. Liam kept searching. Another article from Portland, dated 6 months ago. A woman named Caroline Hendricks claiming Julian had scammed her out of $400,000 in a fake real estate investment. Another from Eugene. Another from Seattle. All of them wealthy women. All of them charmed by Julian's sophistication and promises of exclusive opportunities. All of them left with nothing. Liam's stomach turned. He pulled up Vanessa's contact, stared at it. His fingers hovered over the keyboard. What was he supposed to say? Hey, I know we're not talking, but your boyfriend is a con artist. She'd think he was jealous, desperate, making things up to sabotage her happiness. But if he didn't say anything and Julian hurt her, his phone rang. Unknown number again. Hello? Mr. Carter, this is Detective Sarah Moss with Portland PD. Do you have a few minutes to talk about Julian Pierce? The coffee shop Detective Moss chose was in North Portland, far enough from downtown that Liam wouldn't accidentally run into anyone he knew. She was already there when he arrived, sitting in the back corner with a laptop and a cup of something that had stopped steaming an hour ago. Mr. Carter, thanks for meeting me. She gestured to the chair across from her. Can I get you anything? I'm fine. What's this about? Julian Pierce. I understand you've been in contact with him recently. He called me about a job. How did you? We've been monitoring his communications. He's under investigation for real estate fraud. She opened her laptop. Multiple complaints from women across Oregon and California. He targets wealthy, successful women, builds relationships, gains their trust, then convinces them to invest in properties that don't exist. And you think he's doing this to Vanessa Sinclair? We know he is. She's been photographed with him multiple times over the past month. We have reason to believe he's working up to a major ask. Liam's jaw tightened. What do you need from me? Information. How well do you know Ms. Sinclair? We're friends. Or we were. When was the last time you spoke with her? 5 weeks ago. We had a falling out. Detective Moss made a note. What kind of falling out? Personal. Nothing to do with Julian. But you know about their relationship. I've seen the photos, and he contacted me recently. About what? Liam recounted the conversation. The job offer, the too smooth voice, the provocation at the end. Detective Moss listened without interrupting, her expression giving nothing away. He was testing you, too, she said when Liam finished, seeing if you'd interfere. If you're not in Vanessa's life anymore, you're not a threat to his plans. What are his plans? We're not entirely sure yet, but based on his pattern, he's probably working toward a large investment ask, something time-sensitive that requires immediate cash. He'll make it sound exclusive, urgent, something she can't pass up. Vanessa's smart. She wouldn't fall for that. Smart people fall for cons every day, Mr. Carter. That's why they work. Julian is very good at identifying what people want and offering it to them. Detective Moss closed her laptop. The problem is we don't have enough evidence yet to arrest him. Everything he's done has stayed just inside legal boundaries. We need him to actually commit fraud, which means we need to let him keep going. You want to use Vanessa as bait. We want to protect her while building our case, but we need someone close to her to keep an eye on things. Someone he doesn't see as a threat. He sees me as a threat. He basically said so. Only if you're in her life. If you're not, if you maintain distance, he'll think he's neutralized you. Detective Moss leaned forward. I know this is asking a lot, but if you care about Ms. Sinclair, this might be the best way to help her. Liam thought about Vanessa in that empty apartment, telling him she needed to know if there was any chance. Thought about his own cowardice, his fear of disrupting the careful distance he'd put between their worlds. Thought about Julian's smooth voice on the phone, the calculated way he'd twisted the knife. What do you need me to do? He asked. The plan was simple in theory, complicated in execution. Liam would accept Julian's job offer, get close enough to monitor what was happening with Vanessa without being obvious about it. Detective Moss would have an undercover officer in place as one of Julian's other investors to corroborate any evidence they gathered. Liam called Julian that afternoon. I've been thinking about your offer, he said. I'd like to hear more about the Lake Oswego project. Julian's pleasure was audible. Excellent. I knew you'd come around. Are you free tomorrow? Tomorrow works. Perfect. Let's meet at the property site. I'll text you the address. And Liam? Julian's voice went warm. I'm glad we're doing this. I think we're going to work very well together. The address Julian sent was in Lake Oswego, an affluent neighborhood south of Portland. Old money, established families, houses that cost more than most people made in a lifetime. The kind of place where Vanessa belonged and Liam definitely didn't. The property was impressive even by Lake Oswego standards. 2 acres of waterfront, mature trees, a view that probably added $500,000 to the asking price. Julian was waiting at the entrance in pressed slacks and a polo shirt, looking like he'd just walked off a golf course. Liam, good to see you. Julian extended his hand. His grip was firm, confident. What do you think? It's a hell of a lot, isn't it? The previous owner was an investment banker, built the house in the 90s, but it needs significant updates. That's where you come in. Julian led him toward the main structure. I'm envisioning something really special here. Custom everything, no expense spared. They walked through the house for the next hour. Julian pointed out where he wanted built-ins, where the kitchen needed to be gutted, which walls he wanted removed. He had vision. Liam would give him that. He also had answers for every question Liam asked about permits, timelines, and budgets that were just vague enough to be concerning. So what do you think? Yeah, Julian asked as they stood on the deck overlooking the water. Can you handle this level of project? The work itself isn't the issue. It's the scope. This is at least a year-long job, probably longer. I'd have to turn down other clients. Which is why I'm prepared to pay premium rates, triple your normal fee, plus materials costs. Triple. That was life-changing money. That was enough to make Liam question whether Detective Moss had been right about Julian. That's generous, Liam said carefully. I believe in paying for quality, and Vanessa assured me you're the best. Julian's expression shifted, became something harder to read. She's very loyal to you, you know, even after you hurt her. I never meant to. I know. You were scared. It's understandable. Julian turned to face the water. She told me about what happened at the furniture store, how you made a joke about being married, then immediately took it back. That must have stung. Liam's hands curled into fists. She told you that? We don't have secrets. That's what makes our relationship work. Julian glanced at him. I hope this doesn't make things awkward. Working together, I mean. Now that I'm with the woman you love. I never said I love her. You didn't have to. Julian smiled. It didn't reach his eyes. But here's the thing, Liam. Vanessa deserves someone who's all in. Someone who can match her ambition, her lifestyle, her vision for the future. You had 6 years to be that person. You chose not to be. That's not. So now she's with me, and I'm not going to make the same mistake you did. I'm going to give her everything she deserves. Julian pulled out his phone. Speaking of which, I need to go. Vanessa and I have dinner reservations. But think about my offer. I'd really like to work with you. He walked away, leaving Liam standing on the deck with a job offer that felt like a trap and the sinking feeling that Julian knew exactly what he was doing. Liam called Detective Moss from his truck. He's playing me, Liam said without preamble. What happened? He made the job offer, triple my normal rate. Huge project, but he spent half the time talking about Vanessa, rubbing it in that they're together, making sure I know I lost. That's textbook manipulation. He's establishing dominance, making you feel small. It keeps you from interfering. Or he actually knows I'm working with you. That's unlikely. We've been very careful. Detective Moss paused. Did he mention any investments? Anything about Vanessa putting money into projects? No, just the Lake Oswego house. Keep the line of communication open. Accept the job if you can stomach it. We need you inside his circle. Liam closed his eyes. How long is this going to take? As long as it needs to. I know this is hard, but hard doesn't cover it. Then think of it this way. Every day you keep him talking to you is a day he's not actively scamming Vanessa. You're buying us time to build a case. After they hung up, Liam sat in the parking lot and tried to figure out how he'd ended up here. A month ago, he'd been furnishing an apartment with his best friend. Now he was working undercover to protect her from a con artist she was dating because Liam had been too scared to tell her the truth. His phone buzzed. Julian, Vanessa wants to see the apartment updates. I told her we should do a dinner party there. Small group, nothing fancy. Would love for you to come. Show off the work you did. Liam stared at the message. This was Julian's way of forcing them into the same room, watching them interact, seeing if Liam was still a threat. Liam. When? Julian. This Saturday, 7 p.m. I'll send details. Liam. I'll be there, because Detective Moss needed him inside the circle. Because Vanessa was in danger whether she knew it or not. Because Liam had already failed her once, and he wasn't going to do it again. Even if it meant watching Julian put his hands on her in the apartment they'd built together. Even if it meant smiling through dinner while his heart cracked apart. Even if it cost him everything. Saturday came too fast and not fast enough. Liam spent the days between Julian's invitation and the dinner party trying to convince himself this was just surveillance, just playing a role. Nothing more complicated than that. He was lying to himself, and he knew it. Emma noticed him ironing a shirt on Friday night. She stopped in the doorway of his bedroom, arms crossed in a way that was pure Mrs. Chen. You never iron, she said. I iron. Name one time. Parent-teacher conferences last spring. That was over a year ago, and the shirt still had wrinkles. She climbed onto his bed, watching him struggle with the collar. Where are you going? Dinner, at Vanessa's new apartment. Emma's face lit up. Really? Can I come? It's adults only, kiddo. That's not fair. I want to see on TV. I know you do. Then why can't I come? Because Julian would be there. Because Liam needed to keep his focus on protecting Vanessa instead of explaining to his 7-year-old why her favorite person was dating a criminal. Because watching Julian touch Vanessa was going to be hard enough without Emma asking innocent questions that would shatter what was left of Liam's composure. It's complicated, he said. You always say that when you don't want to explain things. That's because things usually are complicated. Emma flopped backward on the bed. Are you and Auntie V fighting? No. Then why did she stop coming over? Liam set the iron down before he burned the shirt. Sometimes friendships change. People get busy. It's not anyone's fault. That sounds like something adults say when they're lying to kids. I'm not lying. You're not telling the whole truth either. Emma sat up. Mrs. Chen says you're being stubborn. She used a different word, but I'm not supposed to repeat it. I'm going to have a talk with Mrs. Chen about age-appropriate vocabulary. She also said you should fight for what you want instead of giving up. What does that mean? Liam looked at his daughter. 7 years old and already seeing through him like he was made of glass. He wondered when kids got so perceptive, or maybe he'd just gotten that obvious. It means sometimes grown-ups make mistakes, he said quietly, and they don't always know how to fix them. Did you make a mistake with Auntie V? Yeah, sweetheart, I think I did. Emma considered this. You should tell her sorry. It's not that simple. Why not? When I hurt someone's feelings, you make me apologize. How come you don't have to? Because apologizing meant admitting he'd been wrong, meant facing what he'd thrown away, meant risking the small chance that maybe, somehow, it wasn't too late. I'll think about it, Liam said. You better. I miss her. Emma slid off the bed. And Dad, the shirt looks better without the iron. You're burning it. She was right. There was a brown scorch mark across the shoulder. Liam wore a different shirt. The apartment looked different, filled with people. Julian had invited 6 guests total, a couple who owned a gallery downtown, a tech entrepreneur Liam vaguely recognized from local news, a woman who introduced herself as Miranda and said she was in pharmaceuticals, and Liam. Vanessa answered the door in a black dress that probably cost more than Liam's mortgage payment. Her hair was up, showing the curve of her neck. She wore diamond earrings that caught the light from the green lamp in the corner. She looked like someone from a different world. She always had. But standing in the apartment they'd built together, with Julian's hand possessive on her waist, the distance between their lives felt insurmountable. Liam, she said. Her voice was carefully neutral. I'm glad you could make it. Thanks for having me. Of course. You did most of the work here. It seems right that you should see the finished result. Julian stepped forward, extending his hand. Liam, come in. Let me get you a drink. We have wine, beer, some excellent scotch. Beer is fine. Excellent. Vanessa, darling, can you show Liam around while I grab drinks? Darling, the word landed like a slap. Julian disappeared toward the kitchen, leaving Liam and Vanessa standing in the entryway. The other guests were in the living room, laughing at something the gallery owner had said. For a moment, it was just the two of them. You look nice, Vanessa said. You look beautiful. She flinched, barely. If Liam hadn't been watching her face, he would have missed it. Don't, she said quietly. Don't what? Don't make this harder than it already is. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have. The apartment turned out well. She gestured around them, cutting him off. Everything we planned. It feels like home. Good. That's good. Julian helped with the final touches. The rug in the living room, the art on the walls. He has excellent taste. Of course he did. Con artists always did. That was part of the package. Vanessa, I need to... Here we are. Julian returned with drinks. He handed Liam a beer, Vanessa a glass of wine. His other hand found her waist again, like he needed to keep marking territory. Shall we join the others? I want to hear Marcus's thoughts on the gallery expansion. They moved into the living room. Liam found himself on the charcoal sofa he'd helped Vanessa choose. The cushions were exactly as comfortable as he remembered. Vanessa sat in the armchair across from him. Julian perched on the arm beside her. His hand rested on her shoulder. The evening proceeded like most dinner parties in expensive apartments probably did. Conversation about art and real estate and the changing Portland food scene. Julian was charming, engaging, pulling stories from each guest like he'd known them for years. He told jokes that landed. He complimented the right people at the right times. He played the perfect host, and through it all his hand never left Vanessa. A touch on her shoulder, her knee, the small of her back when they moved to the dining table. Liam nursed his beer and tried to focus on why he was really here, watching for signs of the con, listening for mentions of investment opportunities, playing the role Detective Moss needed him to play. The dining table was a piece Liam didn't recognize. Modern, glass-topped, nothing like the reclaimed barnwood table they'd looked at together. Julian sat at the head, Vanessa to his right. Liam ended up between Miranda and the tech entrepreneur. This apartment is stunning, Miranda said to Vanessa. How long have you been here? Just over a month. It was a project I took on personally, something separate from work. Julian mentioned you own Sinclair Properties. That must keep you busy. It does, but this place is different. It's mine in a way the penthouse never was. We should all have spaces like that, Julian said. Places that belong to us alone. Speaking of which, I've been working on a project that might interest some of you. Here it comes, Liam thought. I'm developing a luxury residential property in Lake Oswego, Julian continued. Very exclusive, limited units. The location is incredible. Waterfront, mature landscaping, privacy that's nearly impossible to find this close to Portland. Sounds expensive, the gallery owner said. It is, but the return potential is significant. I've already had interest from several high net worth individuals. The pre-sale units are moving quickly. What's the price point? Miranda asked, starting at $2.5 million. But for friends and select investors, I'm offering pre-construction pricing. Substantial discount in exchange for early commitment. The tech entrepreneur leaned forward. What kind of discount? 20% below market. It's a limited window. Once we break ground, prices go to full market rate. Liam watched the table, watched interest flicker across faces. This was how it worked. Plant the seed, make it sound exclusive, create artificial scarcity. I'd love to see the plans, Miranda said. I can send them over. Actually, I'm hosting a small presentation next week, Thursday evening, just a handful of people I trust. If you're interested, I'd be happy to include you. I'll definitely be there. The tech entrepreneur nodded. Me too. Julian smiled. Wonderful. Vanessa's coming, of course. She's been incredibly supportive of the project. Liam looked at Vanessa. Her smile was in place, but her eyes were distant, like she was somewhere else entirely. Have you invested in it? The gallery owner's wife asked. Not yet, Vanessa said. Julian keeps insisting he doesn't want to mix business with our relationship. I want you to invest because you believe in the project, Julian said smoothly. Not because we're together. That's important to me. It was a good move, Liam had to admit. Made Julian look principled, removed any appearance of using their relationship for financial gain. Classic misdirection. The conversation moved on. Talk of market trends and property values and Portland's growth. Liam half listened, more focused on the way Vanessa's smile never quite reached her eyes. The way she refilled her wine glass twice during dinner. The way she tensed every time Julian touched her. Or maybe Liam was seeing what he wanted to see. Maybe she was perfectly happy, and he was inventing problems to justify his presence here. After dinner, Julian suggested dessert on the balcony. The apartment didn't have a balcony, but there was a shared rooftop space accessible from the 4th floor. Everyone headed up except Liam and Vanessa. I should help clear plates, Vanessa said. I'll help, Liam offered. They worked in silence. Liam carried dishes to the kitchen. Vanessa loaded them into the dishwasher. The domestic routine felt painfully familiar. How many times had they done exactly this after dinners at his house? Emma chattering about school, Mrs. Chen's game show playing in the background, Vanessa laughing at something ridiculous Liam had said. You don't have to stay, Vanessa said finally. I know. Then why are you? Because a detective asked him to. Because Julian was a con artist. Because Liam was trying to protect her from something she didn't know was coming. I wanted to see the apartment finished, he said instead. You saw it. Mission accomplished. Vanessa, stop. She set down the plate she was holding. Stop saying my name like that. Like you have something important to say, but you're not going to actually say it. I'm sorry about what happened at your apartment that night, what I said. You already apologized multiple times. I don't need to hear it again. Then what do you need? She laughed, but it sounded broken. I needed you to mean it when you called me your wife. I needed you to want what I wanted, but you didn't, so here we are. Is that what you think? That I didn't want it? You made it pretty clear. I was scared. I know you were, so was I. The difference is I was willing to try anyway. She turned to face him fully. You chose safety over me. You chose to keep things comfortable instead of risking something real. And that's fine, that's your choice. But don't come to my dinner party and look at me like you're the one who got hurt. You're with Julian. Yes. Are you happy? The question hung between them. Vanessa's jaw tightened. That's not your concern anymore. Are you happy? Liam repeated. She stopped. Started again. He treats me well. He's attentive and thoughtful, and he wants the same things I want. That's not what I asked. It's the answer you're getting. She turned back to the dishes. You should go up to the roof. Julian will wonder where you are. I don't care what Julian wonders. Well, I do. He's my partner. His opinion matters to me. The word partner felt deliberate, pointed. Liam absorbed the hit and stayed standing. Vanessa, there's something you should know about... Darling? Julian's voice carried down from the stairwell. Everything okay down there? Fine, Vanessa called back. Just finishing up. She looked at Liam. Whatever you were about to say, don't. I'm asking you as a friend. If we're still that, please just let me have this. Have what? Well, something that feels like it might work out. Someone who isn't afraid to be with me. Her eyes were bright. Please, Liam, just let me have this. Julian appeared in the doorway before Liam could respond. There you are. Everyone's waiting for us upstairs. Liam, you're not abandoning the party already, are you? No, Liam said. I'm coming. They climbed to the roof. The Portland skyline spread out around them, lights reflecting off the river. Someone had brought up wine. Miranda was showing the gallery couple something on her phone. The tech entrepreneur was taking photos of the view. Julian pulled Vanessa close, kissing her temple. She leaned into him. It looked natural, practiced. Liam looked away. He stayed another hour because leaving early would have been suspicious. Made small talk with Miranda about her pharmaceutical company. Listened to the tech entrepreneur's theories about Portland's housing market. Watched Julian work the group, planting seeds about the Lake Oswego investment, making it sound casual when it was anything but. And he watched Vanessa. The way she smiled at Julian's jokes, the way she let him refill her wine, the way she seemed present but somehow absent at the same time. Liam left around 10. Julian walked him to the door. Thanks for coming, Julian said. It means a lot to Vanessa that you're supportive of our relationship. Does it? She was worried you would make things awkward. But you've been very gracious. Julian lowered his voice. I know this can't be easy, seeing us together, but I appreciate you handling it with class. I'm just here for the apartment. Of course. Julian's smile didn't waver. Although, speaking of apartments, have you thought more about the Lake Oswego project? I could really use your expertise. I'm still thinking. Don't think too long. The timeline is aggressive. If you're not in, I need to find someone else. I'll let you know by Monday. Perfect. Julian opened the door. Drive safe, Liam. The door closed behind him. Liam stood in the hallway for a moment, looking at the number on Vanessa's door, 3C, the apartment they'd built together. The apartment where Julian now played host like he owned it. Liam took the stairs down instead of waiting for the elevator. All 62 steps. By the time he reached the ground floor, his phone was already out. He called Detective Moss. He's making his move, Liam said. Thursday night. Some kind of investor presentation for the Lake Oswego property. How many people? At least 3 that I saw. Could be more. Did Vanessa seem interested? Liam thought about her distant eyes, her too bright smile, the way she'd asked him to let her have this. I don't know, he said honestly. She's hard to read right now. Keep getting close. We need more details about Thursday. He invited me to work on the property, wants an answer by Monday. Accept it. It'll give you legitimate reasons to be around him. Detective, I know this is hard, but we're close, just a little longer. After she hung up, Liam sat in his truck and tried to figure out how he'd ended up here. Lying to Vanessa, working with a con artist, pretending everything was fine when nothing had been fine since the moment he'd laughed off being called her husband. His phone buzzed with a text. Vanessa, thank you for coming tonight. I know it wasn't easy. Liam, the apartment looks great. Vanessa, Julian wants to know if you'll take the Lake Oswego job. He's really excited about working with you. Liam stared at the message. She was coordinating between them now, playing mediator, like they were colleagues instead of people who used to know each other's thoughts without speaking. Liam, I'll take it. Vanessa, good. He'll be happy to hear that. Liam, and you? Are you happy? The 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Finally, Vanessa, I'm trying to be. It wasn't an answer. It was an admission. Liam wanted to call her, wanted to drive back to that apartment and tell her everything about Julian's past, the investigation, the women he'd scammed, the way he was setting her up for the same thing. But she'd asked him to let her have this, and despite everything, he still couldn't bring himself to ignore what she wanted. So he drove home, checked on Emma. sat in the dark living room and tried to convince himself he was doing the right thing. Monday morning, Liam called Julian. "I'm in for Lake Oswego." "Fantastic, I knew you'd come around. Can you meet me at the property tomorrow? I want to go over the scope in detail." "What time?" 10? "And Liam, I really think this is going to be a great partnership." The word partnership made Liam's skin crawl, but he kept his voice even. "See you at 10. Yo, Marshall Show, Moksam." Tuesday morning, he met Julian at the Lake Oswego house. Julian had renderings this time, professional architectural drawings showing the planned renovations. It all looked legitimate. That was the genius of it. Everything was real up until the moment it wasn't. "I'm thinking we start with the kitchen," Julian said. "Full gut, move some walls. Create an open concept that flows into the dining area. That's structural work. You'll need permits. Already filed. Should have approval within the month. And the timeline? Aggressive. I want to be move-in ready by spring." Liam did the math in his head. What Julian was describing was at least 8 months of work, probably closer to a year. Getting it done in 6 months would require a massive crew and corners cut everywhere. "That's ambitious," Liam said carefully. "I have investors expecting returns, can't afford delays." "What happens if we can't meet the timeline?" "We will. I have complete faith in you." Julian pulled out his phone. "Speaking of investors, I'm finalizing the list for Thursday's presentation. I'd love for you to be there. Show people the quality of workmanship they can expect. I'm not really a presentation guy. You don't have to speak, just be available to answer technical questions. It'll help sell the vision." Liam hesitated. Being at the presentation meant watching Julian pitch his scam to a room full of marks, including possibly Vanessa. "What time?" Liam asked. 7. At Vanessa's apartment, actually. She offered to host. Of course she did, because Julian had gotten her invested in his success, made her complicit without her realizing it. "I'll be there," Liam said. "Perfect." Julian walked toward the house. "Let me show you the master suite. I have some ideas for custom millwork that I think you're going to love." They spent the next 2 hours going through the house. Julian's vision was expensive and detailed. Too detailed for someone planning to disappear with investor money. But that was the con. Make it real enough that people believed. Get them committed. Then find a reason why things fell apart after the money changed hands. Liam took notes, asked questions, played the role of enthusiastic contractor. And the whole time, he thought about Vanessa hosting this presentation in the apartment they'd built, offering her space, her credibility, her implicit endorsement to help Julian scam people out of their savings. She had no idea what she was walking into. After the meeting, Liam called Detective Moss from his truck. "Thursday night, 7 p.m., he said. "Vanessa's apartment. He's doing the full pitch. How many investors?" He mentioned at least 5 from Saturday. Could be more. "We'll have our undercover officer there. Her name is Sarah Hendricks. She'll pose as a potential investor." "What do you need from me?" "Just be present. Watch who commits to what. If Vanessa tries to invest, try to delay her without being obvious. We need Julian to think everything is going according to plan. And if I can't delay her, then we'll have to move faster than we wanted." Detective Moss paused. "How is she?" "Vanessa?" Liam thought about her asking him to let her have this, about the distance in her eyes, about the way she kept choosing Julian even when something in her body language suggested she didn't want to. "She's not okay," Liam said. "But she's pretending to be. That's what these guys count on. They find successful people who are lonely or uncertain, and they offer them exactly what they need. Confidence. Certainty. A partner who seems perfect. Nothing about Julian is perfect, but he's very good at appearing that way. Just keep doing what you're doing. We're close." After she hung up, Liam sat in the parking lot and looked at the Lake Oswego house. 2 acres of waterfront, mature trees. A view that probably added $500,000 to the value. It would make someone a beautiful home someday. It just wouldn't be one of Julian's investors. Wednesday night, Emma had a nightmare. Liam heard her crying around 2 a.m. and found her sitting up in bed, clutching her stuffed rabbit. "Hey, sweetheart, what's wrong?" "I had a bad dream." He sat on the edge of her bed. "Want to tell me about it?" "We were at a party. Like a fancy party with lots of people. And Auntie V was there, but she couldn't see me. I kept trying to talk to her, but it was like I was invisible. Liam's chest tightened. That sounds scary. Is Auntie V mad at me? No, baby. She's not mad at you. Then why doesn't she visit anymore? It's complicated. You always say that. Emma wiped her eyes. I miss her. I know you do. Do you miss her? Liam looked at his daughter, 7 years old and already asking questions he didn't know how to answer honestly. Yeah, he said quietly. I do. Then why don't you tell her? Because sometimes missing someone isn't enough. That's stupid. Emma, it is. If you miss someone and they miss you, you should be together. That's how it works. It's more complicated than that. You keep saying things are complicated, but maybe you're just making them complicated. Out of the mouths of babes, Liam thought. His 7-year-old daughter had just summarized his entire problem in one sentence. Maybe you're right, he said. I'm always right. That's what being 7 means. Is that so? Yes. We're very wise. She yawned. Will you stay until I fall asleep? Of course. Liam sat with her until her breathing evened out. Then he sat a little longer, watching her sleep, thinking about what she'd said. Maybe he was making things complicated. Maybe the answer was as simple as Emma made it sound. Tell Vanessa the truth. All of it. The investigation, Julian's past, the fact that Liam had been lying about his feelings for 6 years. But simple and possible weren't the same thing. And tomorrow night, he had to stand in Vanessa's apartment and watch Julian sell his con while pretending everything was normal. Nothing about that was simple. Thursday arrived like a deadline. Liam spent the day working on the Belmont house, trying to lose himself in the rhythm of sanding and staining and not thinking about what was coming. It didn't work. At 6:30, he showered and changed, put on the shirt he hadn't burned, checked his reflection and saw someone who looked like they were going to a funeral instead of a real estate presentation. Mrs. Chen was watching Emma. She took one look at Liam's face and shook her head. Whatever you're about to do, don't be an idiot about it. That's helpful advice, very specific. You know what I mean? That woman loves you. Don't forget that. She's with someone else. She's with someone she settled for because the person she wanted was too scared to step up. There's a difference. Liam kissed Emma goodbye and left before Mrs. Chen could say anything else that was completely accurate and completely unhelpful. The drive to Vanessa's apartment took 20 minutes. Liam spent 19 of them rehearsing what he'd say if he got her alone. How he'd warn her about Julian without revealing the investigation. How he'd make her understand that she was in danger without sounding jealous or desperate. He still hadn't figured it out when he climbed the 62 steps to her door. Vanessa answered wearing a blue dress that made her eyes look like the ocean. She'd done something different with her hair. She looked nervous. You're early, she said. Traffic was light. Julian's not here yet. He had a last-minute meeting. She stepped back to let him in. Come in. I could use help setting up chairs. The apartment looked different again. She'd added more furniture since Saturday. A bookshelf filled with art books. Throw pillows on the sofa. Framed photographs on the mantel. Her and Julian at what looked like a vineyard, both of them laughing at something off camera. Liam looked away. They set up folding chairs in a semicircle facing the dining table where Julian would presumably present. Vanessa moved around the space with nervous energy, adjusting chairs, straightening pillows, checking that the wine glasses were arranged properly. You don't have to do all this, Liam said. I want to. Julian's put so much work into this project. The least I can do is help him present it well. Vanessa, can you move that chair a little to the left? It's not aligned with the others. Liam moved the chair. We need to talk. We are talking. About Julian. Her hand stilled on the wine bottle she was opening. What about him? This was it. The moment. Liam could tell her everything right now. Blow up Julian's con. Derail the presentation. Save her from making a terrible mistake. But Detective Moss needed more time. Needed evidence. Needed Julian to actually commit fraud before they could arrest him. And Liam had promised to play along. He really cares about you, Liam said instead. The lie tasted like metal. I know he does. Are you sure? What kind of question is that? I want to make sure you're happy. Vanessa set down the wine bottle and turned to face him fully. Why do you keep asking me that? Because I care about you. You have a funny way of showing it. What's that supposed to mean? You pushed me away, Liam. You told me to date Julian. You said I deserved someone who fit into my world, and now you're here asking if I'm happy? What do you want from me? I want you to be safe. Safe from what? The door opened before Liam could answer. Julian walked in carrying a leather portfolio and wearing a suit that probably cost more than Liam's truck. Sorry I'm late, Julian said. He kissed Vanessa's cheek. The meeting ran long. He noticed Liam. Oh, good. You're already here. Did Vanessa put you to work? Just helping set up. Excellent. I brought the updated renderings. Want to take a look before everyone arrives? Boa batas shimen. Julian spread the drawings across the dining table. They were even more detailed than the ones Liam had seen on Tuesday. Floor plans, elevation drawings, materials specifications. Someone had put serious money into these presentations. Beautiful work, Vanessa said, leaning over Julian's shoulder. It's going to be incredible when it's finished, and Liam's going to make sure every detail is perfect. Aren't you, Liam? That's the plan. I'm thinking about investing, Vanessa said quietly. Liam's head snapped up. What? In the project. Julian's been talking about it for weeks. It seems like a solid opportunity. You said you didn't want to mix business in your relationship. I've changed my mind. This is too good to pass up. Julian put his arm around her waist. I told her she didn't have to, but she insists. How much? Liam asked. That's between Vanessa and me, Julian said smoothly. But don't worry, I'll take good care of her investment. The doorbell rang. Other guests arriving. Miranda from the pharmaceutical company, the tech entrepreneur, the gallery couple, and a woman Liam didn't recognize. 30s, expensive watch, the kind of polished appearance that screamed money. That had to be Sarah Hendricks, the undercover detective. Julian greeted everyone warmly, offered wine, made small talk. And then, when everyone was settled, he began his presentation. Liam had to admit, it was impressive. Julian walked through the vision for the Lake Oswego property with the skill of someone who'd done this 100 times. He talked about market trends, property values, the scarcity of waterfront land. He showed the renderings. He painted a picture of luxury and exclusivity and returns that seemed almost too good to be true. Because they were. The pre-construction pricing is only available through the end of this month, Julian said. After that, we go to market rate. I'm limiting this opportunity to people I trust, people who share my vision for creating something truly special. What's the minimum investment? Sarah Hendricks asked. $500,000. That gets you a pre-construction unit plus participation in the overall project returns. Miranda leaned forward. What kind of returns are we talking about? Conservative estimate? 20 to 30% annually. But if the market continues trending the way it has been, could be significantly higher. The tech entrepreneur whistled. That's substantial. It's a substantial opportunity, but it's also a limited window. Julian looked around the room. I have 12 units available at this price point. Half are already committed. I'm offering the remaining 6 to this group first. It was textbook. Create scarcity, imply competition, make people feel like they'd be foolish to pass it up. I'm in, Miranda said. For 1 unit. Excellent. I'll have my attorney draw up the paperwork. I'd like 2, the tech entrepreneur said. Also done. Sarah Hendricks raised her hand slightly. I'm interested, but I'd like to see more financial documentation before committing. Profit and loss statements, market analysis, that kind of thing. Of course, I'll have my accountant send everything over. Julian smiled. I appreciate your due diligence. It's exactly the kind of smart thinking I want from investors in this project. He was good. He didn't push when someone asked questions, didn't get defensive, just rolled with it and made them feel smart for being cautious. Vanessa had been quiet through the whole presentation. Now she spoke up. I'd like 3 units, she said. The room went still. 3 units at $500,000 each was $1.5 million. Darling, Julian said carefully, are you sure? That's a significant commitment. I'm sure. I believe in this project, and I believe in you. Julian's smile was radiant, but there was something else behind it, something that looked like triumph. Then it settled. Miranda, 1 unit. David, 2. Vanessa, 3. Sarah, pending your review of the financials. That's 6 units spoken for, which means we're fully subscribed. The gallery couple looked disappointed. What about us? I may be able to create 1 or 2 additional units if the interest is there. Let me talk to my development team and get back to you. More scarcity, more pressure. Make them feel like they were missing out. The presentation wrapped up with champagne and more discussion of timelines and closing dates. Julian circulated through the room, answering questions, cementing commitments. He was in his element, and Vanessa stood beside him, smiling like everything was fine. Liam caught her eye across the room. She looked away. Around 9, people started leaving. Liam helped clean up, mostly because he needed an excuse to stay. Sarah Hendricks lingered near the door, talking to Julian about the financial documentation she wanted to review. Of course, Olam, Julian was saying. I'll have everything sent over by Monday. Take your time reviewing it. I want you to feel completely comfortable with the investment. After Sarah left, it was just the 3 of them. Vanessa was collecting wine glasses. Julian was packing up his presentation materials. And Liam was trying to figure out how to get Vanessa alone without being obvious about it. Hell of a night, Julian said. 6 units committed, maybe 8 if the Hendersons come through. That's faster than I expected. Congratulations, Liam said flatly. We should celebrate. Vanessa, what do you say? Late dinner downtown? I'm exhausted, Vanessa said. Rain check? Of course, darling. Julian kissed her forehead. I'll call you tomorrow. We can discuss the paperwork for your units. Sounds good. Julian gathered his things and headed for the door. Liam, I'll be in touch about the Lake Oswego timeline, probably early next week. I'll be ready. After Julian left, the apartment felt too quiet. Vanessa continued collecting glasses, not looking at Liam. 1.5 million, Liam said. I can afford it. That's not the point. Then what is the point? You barely know him. I know him well enough. Do you? Liam crossed the room. Vanessa, you're investing based on renderings and promises. Have you even seen the property? Julian showed me photos. Photos aren't the same as seeing it in person. What if it's not what he says it is? Why would he lie? Because that's what con artists do, Liam wanted to scream. Because he's done this before. Because there are women in 3 cities who lost everything trusting men like Julian. But he couldn't say any of that, not without revealing the investigation, not without breaking his promise to Detective Moss. I'm just saying you should be careful, Liam said instead. I appreciate your concern, but I can make my own decisions. Even if they're bad ones? Vanessa set down the wine glass she was holding, hard. Get out. What? Get out of my apartment. Now. Vanessa, you don't get to do this. You don't get to push me away and then show up acting like you have any say in my life. I asked you if there was a chance. You said no. You told me to see where things went with Julian, so I did. And now you're questioning my judgment? You have no right. I'm trying to protect you. From what? From being happy? From moving on? Her voice cracked. You made your choice, Liam. Live with it, but don't stand in my apartment and act like I'm the one making a mistake. You're making a terrible mistake. Then it's mine to make, not yours. She walked to the door and opened it. Leave, please. Liam looked at her. At the woman he'd loved for 6 years. The woman he'd pushed away because he was scared. The woman who was about to lose $1.5 million to a con artist because Liam couldn't tell her the truth. He left. The door closed behind him with a finality that felt permanent. Liam made it down 2 flights of stairs before he had to stop, sat down on the landing, put his head in his hands. This was impossible. Protect Vanessa without telling her why. Watch her walk into disaster while pretending everything was fine. Stand by while Julian destroyed her financially and emotionally because the police needed more evidence. Liam pulled out his phone, called Detective Moss. She's in for $1.5 million, he said without preamble. We need to move. Now. We can't. Not yet. We need documentation. We need him to actually take the money. By then it'll be too late. Liam, I know this is hard. Hard. She just kicked me out of her apartment because I tried to warn her. Julian's going to take everything from her. And I can't stop it because you need more evidence. We're close. Just a few more days. What if we don't have a few more days? Then we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. For now, just keep doing what you're doing. What I'm doing isn't working. It has to. We don't have another option. Liam hung up, sat there on the stairwell landing, tried to figure out how everything had gotten so broken. His phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Unknown. This is Sarah Hendricks. Met you tonight at the presentation. Can we talk? Liam. About what? Sarah. Julian Pierce and how we stop him before he destroys Vanessa Sinclair. Liam stared at the message. The undercover detective, reaching out directly. That wasn't standard procedure. Liam. When? Sarah. Now. There's a coffee shop 2 blocks from Vanessa's building. I'll be waiting. Liam stood up, walked down the remaining stairs, out into the Portland night where the rain had started falling and the river moved past like it always did, indifferent to human problems. 2 blocks away, a detective was waiting to tell him something. Liam hoped to hell it was a solution, because the current plan was killing him. The coffee shop was one of those places that stayed open late for people who had nowhere else to go. Sarah Hendricks sat in the back corner, wearing jeans and a hoodie instead of the designer outfit from the presentation. She looked younger without the polish, tired. Liam slid into the seat across from her. You're not really interested in investing. No, I'm a detective with the fraud division. She kept her voice low. Detective Moss told you I'd be at the presentation. Autotae. Maurice will... She did. What's going on? Why contact me directly? Sarah glanced around the coffee shop. Only 2 other customers, both absorbed in their laptops. Because the timeline just changed. Julian's moving faster than we expected. What do you mean? He called me an hour ago. Said he had a potential buyer for one of the Lake Oswego units who wanted to close immediately. Asked if I was still interested because he needed to know by tomorrow morning. If I'm out, he's offering my slot to someone else. Liam felt his stomach drop. He's creating pressure. Exactly. And if he's doing it with me, he's doing it with everyone, which means Vanessa probably has until tomorrow to wire her $1.5 million. Can you arrest him? You have enough now, don't you? We have enough to bring him in for questioning. We don't have enough to make charges stick. He hasn't actually taken any money yet. The renderings are legitimate, the property exists, the permits are filed. On paper, everything looks clean. But it's not. No. But proving that in court requires more than our suspicions. We need documentation showing intent to defraud. Bank records, communications with other victims, something concrete. How long will that take? Weeks? Maybe months? Sarah leaned forward. We don't have that kind of time. Not if he's pressuring people to wire money tomorrow. So what do? We speed up the investigation, force his hand, make him expose himself before anyone actually loses money. How? Sarah pulled out her phone and showed Liam a photograph. A woman in her 50s, elegant, expensively dressed. This is Caroline Hendricks. No relation to me, just a coincidence. She's one of Julian's previous victims. Lost $400,000 in a fake development deal 18 months ago in Portland. I read about her case. She's willing to testify, willing to confront Julian directly, but she needs leverage. She needs him to admit what he did. He's not going to do that. Not voluntarily, but if he thinks she's about to expose him to Vanessa and his other current marks, he might try to buy her silence. And if he does that, we have him for extortion on top of fraud. Liam processed this. You want to use Caroline as bait. I want to create a situation where Julian has to choose between running or fighting. Either way, we expose him before Vanessa wires her money. When? Tomorrow night, Caroline will show up at Vanessa's apartment, demand to speak with Julian, create a scene. Vanessa will be there? She has to be. It's her apartment. And honestly, she needs to hear this from someone other than you. Caroline's story will be harder to dismiss as jealousy. It made sense strategically, but the thought of Vanessa finding out this way, publicly, humiliatingly, in her own home, made Liam want to break something. There has to be another way, he said. There isn't. Not if we want to stop this before she loses everything. Sarah's expression softened. I know you care about her. That's why I'm telling you this. So you can be there when it happens. So she doesn't have to face it alone. She kicked me out of her apartment an hour ago. She's not going to want me there. Then you'll have to find a way in. Sarah stood. Caroline will arrive at 8 p.m. tomorrow. Be there if you can. Vanessa's going to need someone when this falls apart. She left. Liam sat alone in the coffee shop, staring at the cold cup of coffee he'd ordered but hadn't touched. Tomorrow night, Vanessa's world was going to shatter, and there was nothing he could do to stop it. He should have told her the truth weeks ago, should have ignored Detective Moss's timeline and warned Vanessa the moment he found those articles, should have trusted that she was smart enough to see through Julian if someone just gave her the facts. But he hadn't, and now it was too late for the gentle approach. Liam pulled out his phone, typed a message to Vanessa. Liam, I'm sorry about tonight. I was out of line. Can we talk tomorrow? The message sat there, unread. She was probably asleep, or ignoring him, or with Julian, celebrating their successful presentation. Liam deleted the message before he could send it. Whatever happened tomorrow, he needed to be there. Even if Vanessa didn't want him, even if she threw him out again. She was going to need someone who actually cared about her when the truth came out. And despite everything, that was still him. Friday morning arrived gray and cold. Liam tried to work but couldn't focus. He kept checking his phone, waiting for some sign from Vanessa. Nothing came. Around noon, Julian called. Liam, good news! I've got the permits approved for Lake Oswego. We can start demo work next week. That was fast. I told you I have connections. Listen, I need you to meet me at the property tomorrow, Saturday morning. I want to walk through the scope one more time before we pull the trigger. Beshim, skipopon. I can't tomorrow. I have Emma. Bring her. Kids love construction sites. Julian's tone was friendly, but there was something underneath it, something sharp. It's important, Liam. I need to know you're committed to this project. I told you I'm committed. Then prove it. Tomorrow, 9 a.m. I'll see you there. Iprit Matson Kien. He hung up before Liam could respond. Liam stared at his phone. Julian was tightening his control, making demands, testing loyalty, classic manipulation tactics. The afternoon dragged. Liam tried to lose himself in work but kept watching the clock. 8 p.m. felt like it was approaching too fast and not fast enough. Emma asked if Auntie V was coming to dinner. Not tonight, sweetheart. Is she ever coming back? I don't know. Emma looked at him with those too perceptive 7-year-old eyes. You should fix it. I'm trying. Try harder. At 7:30, Liam called Mrs. Chen. I need to go out. Can you watch Emma? Again? This is the 3rd time this week. I know. I'm sorry. It's important. Mrs. Chen sighed. Fine, but you owe me an explanation. I'll tell you everything when this is over. It better be a good story. Liam kissed Emma goodbye and drove toward Vanessa's apartment. He had no plan for getting inside, no excuse for being there, just a desperate need to be present when everything fell apart. He parked across the street and watched the building. Lights were on in Vanessa's 3rd-floor apartment. He could see shadows moving behind the curtains. At 7:50, a black sedan pulled up. Caroline Hendricks stepped out, wearing a tailored suit and an expression of grim determination. She looked like someone going into battle. Liam got out of his truck and jogged across the street. Miss Hendricks? She turned. Who are you? Liam Carter. I'm working with Detective Moss. She told me you'd be here tonight. You're the contractor, the one who's friends with Vanessa. Something like that. Caroline studied him. You love her. It wasn't a question. Liam didn't bother denying it. Yes. Then you should be up there when this happens. She's going to need someone who isn't a detective taking notes. She kicked me out last night. I don't think she wants to see me. That's not the same as not needing you. Caroline started toward the building entrance. Come on, we're doing this together. They climbed the 62 steps side by side. Liam's heart was hammering by the time they reached the 3rd floor. Caroline knocked on Vanessa's door without hesitation. Vanessa answered wearing yoga pants and an oversized sweater. Her hair was pulled back. She looked comfortable, at home. She saw Liam and her expression immediately shuddered. What are you doing here? Vanessa Sinclair, Caroline asked before Liam could answer. Yes? My name is Caroline Hendricks. I need to speak with you about Julian Pierce. Vanessa's eyes narrowed. How do you know Julian? He stole $400,000 from me, and he's about to do the same thing to you. The color drained from Vanessa's face. Excuse me? Can we come in? This isn't a conversation for the hallway. Vanessa looked between Caroline and Liam. Did you bring her here? I didn't know she was coming until last night, Liam said. But yes, I knew she'd be here. Unbelievable. Vanessa started to close the door. Caroline put her hand on the frame. Please, 5 minutes. If you still want us to leave after that, we will. But you need to hear this. Something in Caroline's voice must have convinced her. Vanessa stepped back and let them in. The apartment looked the same as it had the night before. Wine glasses still drying by the sink. Julian's presentation materials still stacked on the dining table. The green lamp glowing in the corner. Vanessa crossed her arms. You have 5 minutes. Caroline didn't waste time. 18 months ago, Julian Pierce approached me at a charity event. We started dating. He was charming, attentive, everything I thought I wanted. After 3 months, he introduced me to a development opportunity. Luxury condos in the Pearl District, exclusive presale pricing, limited availability. Vanessa's face had gone very still. I invested $400,000, Caroline continued, wired the money to an account he controlled. He promised groundbreaking would start within 60 days. That was in March of last year. By June, he'd stopped returning my calls. The property address he'd given me was a vacant lot with no permits, no plans, no development. He'd taken my money and disappeared. Unbreakable. That's... Vanessa's voice cracked. That's not possible. Julian showed me permits, architectural drawings. The Lake Oswego property exists. I'm sure it does. That's how he works. Everything looks legitimate until the moment it isn't. He finds wealthy women, builds relationships, gains trust, then convinces them to invest in properties that will never be built, or properties that exist but that he doesn't actually own or control. You're lying. I'm not. And I'm not the only one. There are at least 4 other women I know of. Sacramento, Eugene, Seattle, all the same pattern, all the same story. Vanessa turned to Liam. You knew about this? Yes. For how long? Since the Saturday after the furniture store, I found articles, started researching. Then the police contacted me. The police? Julian's under investigation, Caroline said. Has been for months. They asked Liam to help gather evidence. That's why he's been staying close. Vanessa's laugh was bitter. So this whole time, the Lake Oswego job, coming to the presentation, warning me about the investment, that was all just you playing detective? I was trying to protect you. By lying to me? By pretending to care about my happiness while secretly investigating my boyfriend? I do care about your happiness. That's why I'm here. Get out. Vanessa, both of you, get out of my apartment right now. Caroline held her ground. Ms. Sinclair, I understand you're upset, but you need to listen. Julian is going to ask you to wire money tomorrow, maybe even tonight. He's going to create urgency, tell you the opportunity is closing, make you feel like you'll miss out if you don't act immediately. That's when he strikes. Julian loves me. Julian is using you the same way he used me, the same way he's used every woman before you. Caroline's voice gentled. I know it's hard to hear. I know you want to believe he's different with you, but he's not. This is what he does. Vanessa's eyes were bright with unshed tears. You don't know anything about our relationship. I know he's a con artist. I know he targeted you specifically because you're successful and wealthy, and Caroline hesitated. And because you were lonely, that's what made me vulnerable too. Not the money, the loneliness. I'm not lonely. Then why did you buy this apartment? Caroline gestured around the space. Why create a separate life away from your company, your penthouse, everything you've built? Why did you need an escape? Vanessa didn't answer. Couldn't answer, maybe. The silence stretched. Liam wanted to say something, do something, fix this somehow. But there was no fixing it. The truth was out, and it was exactly as devastating as he'd feared. I need you both to leave, Vanessa said finally. Her voice was steady, but her hands were shaking. Now. Vanessa, please, Liam started. I said leave. Caroline pulled a business card from her purse and set it on the coffee table. That's my number, and Detective Sarah Moss's. When you're ready to hear more, call us. We can show you documentation, police reports, bank records, everything. She walked to the door. Liam followed reluctantly. I'm sorry, he said to Vanessa. I should have told you sooner. I should have trusted you to handle the truth. You should have stayed out of my life. Vanessa's voice broke on the last word. You made your choice. You don't get to come back and play hero now. I'm not trying to be a hero. I'm trying to keep you from getting hurt. Too late for that. The door closed between them. Liam stood in the hallway, staring at the number 3C, listening to the silence from inside. Caroline touched his arm. Give her time. She needs to process. What if she doesn't believe us? What if she wires the money anyway? Then the police will have to intervene. But I don't think she will. She's smart. Once the shock wears off, she'll see the pattern. They walked down the stairs together. Outside, Caroline's sedan was waiting. Thank you, Liam said, for coming here, for telling her. I've been where she is. I know how it feels to realize the person you trusted was lying the entire time. It's not something I'd wish on anyone. Caroline opened her car door. But she has something I didn't. What's that? Someone who actually loves her, even if she can't see it right now. Caroline got in the car. Don't give up on her. She drove away, leaving Liam standing on the sidewalk in the rain that had started falling again. He looked up at Vanessa's apartment. The lights were still on. He could see her shadow moving behind the curtains. His phone buzzed. Detective Moss. Did it happen? Liam. Yes. Detective Moss. How did she take it? Liam. About as well as you'd expect. She threw us out. Detective Moss. Give her tonight. Tomorrow we'll see if Julian tries to contact her. If he does, we're ready to move. Liam pocketed his phone and got in his truck. Drove home through streets that blurred with rain. Found Mrs. Chen on his couch, watching late-night television. How's Emma? He asked. Asleep. How's Vanessa? Not great. Mrs. Chen muted the TV. Tell me. So he did. All of it. The investigation, Julian's past, the presentation, Caroline's confrontation, everything he'd been holding in for weeks. When he finished, Mrs. Chen was quiet for a long moment. You did the right thing, she said finally. Doesn't feel like it. The right thing rarely does, but she needed to know. Even if she hates you for it now. She definitely hates me for it. She's hurt and angry and embarrassed. That's not the same as hate. Mrs. Chen stood. Get some sleep. Tomorrow you'll figure out what comes next. After she left, Liam checked on Emma. Still asleep. Still peaceful. Still safe in a way Vanessa wasn't anymore. He went to his own room but didn't sleep. Just lay there in the dark, replaying the look on Vanessa's face when Caroline told her the truth. The way her world had cracked apart in real time. Around midnight, his phone lit up. Vanessa. Is it true, all of it? Liam sat up, heart racing. Liam. Yes. Vanessa. How do I know you're not lying? How do I know this isn't just jealousy? Liam. Call Detective Moss. She'll send you everything. Police reports, victim statements, all of it. 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. Vanessa. Julian called me an hour ago. Said he has a buyer for the remaining Lake Oswego unit. Needs my money wired by tomorrow afternoon or I lose my slot. Liam. That's the con. Creating urgency so you don't have time to think. Vanessa. I asked him about Caroline Hendricks. He said she's a disgruntled ex who's been stalking him, that she makes these accusations against every man she dates. Liam. That's what he would say. Good. Vanessa. How do I know who to believe? Liam. Trust your instincts. You asked me if I was happy when you first started seeing him. What's your gut telling you now? The dots appeared and stayed there for almost a minute. Then, Vanessa. I don't know what to believe anymore. Everything feels like a lie. Liam. Not everything, Vanessa. Especially you. Liam. I lied about working with the police. I should have told you, but I never lied about caring about you. Vanessa. You told me to date him. You pushed me toward this. Liam. I know, and I'm sorry. I was scared and stupid, and I thought I was protecting both of us by keeping distance. I was wrong. Vanessa. Why are you telling me this now? Liam. Because you deserve the truth, all of it, even the parts that make me look like a coward. The dots appeared again, then disappeared. No response came. Liam waited an hour, then 2. Finally, around 3 a.m., he sent one more message. Liam. Whatever you decide about Julian, about the investment, about everything, I'm here if you need me. No police, no agenda, just me. She didn't respond. Liam eventually fell into something that wasn't quite sleep, more like exhausted unconsciousness punctuated by dreams where he climbed 62 steps over and over, but never reached the top. Saturday morning, Emma woke him up by jumping on the bed. "Dad, it's pancake day!" Liam groaned. "What time is it?" 8 o'clock. You said we'd make pancakes every Saturday. I say a lot of things. You also say promises are important and we should keep them. She had him there. Liam dragged himself out of bed and made pancakes. Emma chattered about school and her friend Madison's birthday party and whether unicorns were real or just really good at hiding. Liam tried to focus on his daughter instead of his phone. Tried to be present. Tried not to check every 5 minutes to see if Vanessa had responded. She hadn't. Around 10, his phone rang, Julian's name on the screen. Liam stepped into the other room to answer. "Morning," he said. "Where are you?" Julian's voice was tight, angry. "You were supposed to meet me at Lake Oswego at 9. I told you I couldn't make it. I have Emma. Yes, you got this man. And I told you this was important. Do you want this job or not?" "I want the job, but I also have responsibilities." "Responsibilities?" Julian's laugh was harsh. "Let me tell you about responsibilities, Liam. I have investors counting on me, people who trusted me with their money, and I need to know my contractors are reliable. So far, you're not demonstrating that. I'll be available Monday. Monday might be too late. Things are moving fast. If you can't keep up, I'll find someone who can." It was a threat disguised as business. Julian was losing control, feeling the walls closing in. "What's really going on?" Liam asked. "What do you mean? You're not this worked up about one missed meeting. Something else is happening." Silence on the other end. Then, "Did you send that woman to Vanessa's apartment last night?" "What woman?" "Caroline Hendricks. She showed up making wild accusations, completely unhinged. Vanessa called me at 11 p.m. crying, asking if any of it was true." "What did you tell her?" "The truth. That Caroline is a disturbed individual who's been harassing me for months. That I tried to help her with an investment and it didn't work out the way she wanted, so now she's taking it out on me." "And Vanessa believed you?" "Of course she did. Why wouldn't she? I've given her no reason to doubt me." Julian's voice turned cold. "But you have. Coming around, questioning my project, planting seeds of doubt. What's your angle, Liam? You jealous that she chose me over you?" "This isn't about jealousy." "Then what is it about?" "Protecting someone I care about from getting hurt." "By me? I love Vanessa. I would never hurt her." "You're lying to her about the investment, about your past, about everything." The silence this time was longer. When Julian spoke again, his voice had changed. Gone was the friendly charm. What remained was something harder, more dangerous. "You don't know what you're talking about." "I know exactly what I'm talking about." Sacramento. Eugene, Seattle. 400,000 here, 500,000 there. You've been running this scam for years. Those were legitimate investments that didn't work out. Real estate is risky. Sometimes deals fall through. Every single one? Every woman you dated? I don't have to explain myself to you, Asaim. No, but you'll have to explain yourself to the police. Julian laughed. The police have nothing. I've been very careful. Everything I've done is legal. Immoral, maybe, but legal. The admission hung between them. Julian had just confirmed everything. Vanessa's not going to wire you the money, Liam said. She already did. This morning, 1.5 million. Cleared my account 20 minutes ago. Liam's world tilted. You're lying. Check with her yourself. Although she's not taking my calls at the moment, something about needing space to think. But the money's already transferred. So whatever you and your detective friends are planning, you're too late. The line went dead. Liam immediately called Detective Moss. He has her money, 1.5 million, transferred this morning. What? That's not possible. We've been monitoring his accounts. Check again. He just told me it cleared. Liam could hear typing in the background. Then Detective Moss cursed. He moved it to an offshore account. Happened at 7 a.m. before we could get a freeze order. Can you get it back? We can try, but offshore accounts are complicated. Could take weeks, maybe months. Vanessa doesn't have months. I know. We're going to move now. Bring Julian in for questioning. See if we can pressure him into returning the funds. What are my chances? Honestly, not great. Once money goes offshore, it's very hard to recover, especially if he's prepared for this. After she hung up, Liam tried calling Vanessa. Straight to voicemail. He texted, Liam, please call me, it's urgent. No response. He tried again. Liam, Julian has your money. He transferred it offshore this morning. Please, we need to talk. Still nothing. Emma appeared in the doorway. Dad? Are you okay? Yes, sweetheart. I'm fine. You don't look fine. You look like you're going to be sick. Liam pulled her into a hug, held on maybe a little too tight. I just need to help a friend, he said. But I don't know if I can. You always help people. That's what you do. Sometimes helping isn't enough. Then you try harder. That's what you tell me. Out of the mouths of babes. Again. Liam released her. You're right. I need to go out for a little bit. Can you hang out with Mrs. Chen? Is this about Auntie V? Yeah. Then go. I'll be fine. Liam called Mrs. Chen, threw on real clothes, and headed for the door. He didn't have a plan, didn't know what he'd say or do, just knew he couldn't sit in his house while Vanessa's life fell apart. He was halfway to his truck when his phone rang. Vanessa's name on the screen. Vanessa. He's here. Her voice was shaking. Julian's at my apartment. He wants to talk. I don't know what to do. Don't let him in. He's already inside. I thought maybe we could work this out, but he's acting strange. Angry. I'm on my way. Lock yourself in the bathroom. Call the police. Liam, I'm scared. I know. I'm 10 minutes away. Just stay on the phone with me. He could hear Julian's voice in the background muffled through the phone. Vanessa, darling, who are you talking to? Nobody. Is that Liam? Give me the phone. No. Give me the phone, Vanessa. There was a sound of struggle. Then Julian's voice came through clearly. You really couldn't leave well enough alone, could you? Let her go. She's fine. We're just having a conversation. About money. About trust. About what happens when people betray me. I'm calling the police. Do that. By the time they arrive, I'll be gone. And Vanessa will have learned a valuable lesson about trusting the wrong people. If you hurt her, I'm not going to hurt her. I'm just going to take what's mine and disappear. The money's already offshore. Untraceable. You can't stop me. Julian, please. You know what the funny thing is? I actually liked you. Thought we could be friends. But you had to play detective. Had to ruin everything. Julian's voice turned colder. Stay away from us, Liam. This is your last warning. The line went dead. Liam was already driving, breaking every speed limit, running red lights. His phone rang again. Detective Moss. We're sending units to Vanessa's apartment. Are you there? I'm 5 minutes out. Don't go inside. Let the police handle it. He's threatening her, which is why you need to let trained professionals handle it. Liam, I'm serious. Do not engage. But Liam was already pulling up to Vanessa's building, already out of the truck, already taking the stairs 2 at a time. 62 steps had never felt longer. He reached the 3rd floor. Vanessa's door was closed. He could hear voices inside. Julian's calm and measured, Vanessa's shaking. Liam tried the handle. Locked. He knocked. Hard. Vanessa, open the door! The voices inside went quiet. Then footsteps approaching. The door opened. Julian stood there, perfectly composed except for the wild look in his eyes. Liam, what a surprise. Let me in. This is Vanessa's apartment. That's her decision. Vanessa? Liam called past Julian. I'm okay, she said from somewhere inside, but her voice said she wasn't. Let me see her. Julian smiled. You really don't know when to quit, do you? Not when it matters. How noble, how very heroic. Julian stepped back from the door. Fine, come in. Let's settle this once and for all. Liam walked into the apartment. Vanessa was standing by the windows, arms wrapped around herself. Her face was pale. She looked like she'd been crying. Julian closed the door behind Liam. The click of the lock sounded very loud. "Now," Julian said, "let's talk about what happens next." The apartment felt smaller with the three of them inside. Liam kept his eyes on Vanessa, trying to read her expression. She looked fragile in a way he'd never seen before, like something essential had been hollowed out. "What happens next," Julian said, walking to the center of the room, "is that you both accept reality. The money's gone. I earned it. And now I'm leaving Portland." "You didn't earn anything," Liam said. "You stole it." Semantics. Vanessa made an investment. Investments have risk. She understood that when she wired the funds. "I didn't understand you were lying about everything." Vanessa's voice was quiet but steady. "The property, the permits, your entire history. I never lied about the property. Lake Oswego is real. The permits are filed. The renderings are legitimate." "But you don't own it," Liam said. "You don't have the capital to develop it. You're just using it as bait." Julian shrugged. "The real estate market is full of deals that never close, projects that don't get built. It happens every day. Not to the tune of $1.5 million from a single investor." Vanessa knew what she was getting into. She's a sophisticated businesswoman. She did her due diligence. "You pressured her," Liam said. "Created artificial urgency. Made her think she'd lose the opportunity if she didn't act immediately." "That's called sales, Liam, not fraud." Vanessa moved away from the window. "Why did you transfer the money offshore if this was a legitimate investment?" "Asset protection. Standard practice in international real estate. At 7 a.m. on a Saturday? Markets don't sleep. Neither do con artists." Liam took a step toward Julian. "You knew Caroline was going to expose you. You knew the police were watching. So you grabbed what you could and ran." Julian's composure finally cracked. His jaw tightened. "You've been working with the police this entire time, playing contractor while gathering evidence. You're pathetic." "I was trying to protect her." "By lying? By pretending to be her friend while secretly investigating her boyfriend? That's not protection. That's manipulation," says the man who scammed 4 women out of their life savings. "I gave those women exactly what they paid for. Hope, excitement, the feeling that someone saw them as more than just their bank accounts." Julian's eyes were cold now, all pretense of charm gone. "Do you know what all those women had in common? They were lonely, successful but isolated. They had money but no one to share it with. I gave them companionship, romance, a vision of a future that felt possible." "You gave them lies," Vanessa said. "I gave them what they needed. And yes, I got paid for it. But they got something too. Months of feeling desired, feeling special, feeling like they mattered to someone." "That's sick," Liam said. "That's honest. More honest than whatever you and Vanessa have been doing for 6 years. Dancing around your feelings. Pretending friendship was enough. At least I was upfront about what I wanted." "You wanted her money. And she wanted to feel chosen. We all get something." Julian turned to Vanessa. "Tell him I'm wrong. Tell him you didn't feel more alive these past 2 months than you have in years." Vanessa didn't answer. Couldn't, maybe. Because some part of what Julian said had landed. Liam felt something twist in his chest. "Vanessa." "He's not entirely wrong," she said quietly. "I did feel chosen. For the first time in a long time, someone looked at me and saw more than Sinclair Properties. More than the billionaire CEO. Just me." "That wasn't real," Liam said. "Neither was our friendship, apparently. You've been lying to me for weeks. To protect you. To control the situation. To play hero. To make yourself feel better about pushing me away." Vanessa's voice broke. "At least Julian was honest about using me. You hid behind concern while doing the exact same thing." The words hit like a physical blow. Because she was right. Liam had lied. Had manipulated. Had inserted himself into her life under false pretenses. Telling himself it was for her own good. "I'm sorry," he said. "You're right. I should have told you the truth from the beginning. But you didn't, because you were scared of what I'd think, of losing our friendship, of having to actually take a risk." Vanessa looked at him with eyes that held too much pain. "You know what the worst part is? If you'd just been honest with me about everything, about Julian, about your feelings, about all of it, I would have listened. I would have believed you, but you chose to lie, just like he did. It's not the same. Isn't it? You both decided what I could handle, what I needed to know, what was best for me without actually asking me what I wanted. Julian laughed. She's got you there. Shut up, Liam said. Why? She's making a fair point. You're so busy being her white knight that you never stopped to ask if she wanted saving. I wanted honesty, Vanessa said, from both of you, and neither of you gave me that. The sound of sirens cut through the tension, growing closer. Julian heard them too. His expression shifted, calculation replacing the cold anger. That's my cue, he said. Vanessa, it's been lovely. Liam, try not to screw up your next friendship with romantic feelings you're too cowardly to express. He walked toward the door. You're not leaving, Liam said, blocking his path. Move. The police are coming. You might as well wait. For what? They have nothing. No evidence of fraud. No proof I intended to steal anyone's money. Just a failed investment and some angry women who can't accept that real estate is risky. They have Caroline's testimony, bank records, communications. Circumstantial at best. My lawyer will have me out in an hour. Julian's smile was thin. You really thought you were so clever. Working with the police, gathering evidence, playing detective. But you forgot the most important rule of cons. What's that? The best ones are technically legal. Everything I did I can justify. Every dollar I took I can account for. You can't prosecute someone for being a good salesman. The sirens were right outside now, car doors slamming, footsteps on the stairs. Julian looked at Vanessa one last time. I really did like you. That part wasn't fake. You're brilliant and beautiful, and you deserved better than a contractor who couldn't see what was right in front of him for 6 years. Get out, Vanessa said. Julian opened the door just as Detective Moss reached the landing, 2 uniformed officers behind her. Julian Pierce, she said, we need you to come downtown for questioning. Am I under arrest? Not yet, but we have some questions about financial transactions and fraud allegations. I'll be happy to answer them, with my lawyer present, of course. Julian looked completely unbothered, like this was a minor inconvenience rather than the end of his con. They led him away. Liam watched them go, feeling like the victory should taste sweeter than this. They'd stopped Julian, protected Vanessa from losing more. But standing in the apartment with her looking at him like he was a stranger, it didn't feel like winning. After the police left, the silence stretched between them like a canyon. Did you wire the money? Liam asked finally. No, I was about to, this morning. Julian kept calling, creating pressure, but something made me wait. Vanessa walked to the window, looking out at the river. I kept thinking about what Caroline said, about being lonely, and I realized she was right. I bought this apartment because I was lonely. Started dating Julian because I was lonely. Invested in his project because I wanted to believe someone saw me the way you never did. Vanessa, let me finish. She turned to face him. When Marcus called me your wife at the furniture store, it wasn't the joke that hurt. It was watching you immediately take it back. Like the idea of being married to me was so absurd you had to correct it before anyone actually believed it. That's not what I was thinking. Then what were you thinking? Liam looked at her. At the woman he'd loved for 6 years. At the apartment they'd built together. At everything he'd been too scared to reach for. I was thinking that I'm a single father who drives a truck with 200,000 miles and lives paycheck to paycheck. That you're a billionaire who owns half of Portland. That calling you my wife felt like claiming something I had no right to. That if I let myself believe it for even a second, it would hurt worse when reality reminded me we're from different worlds. We're not from different worlds, we're from the same world. We just have different bank accounts. It's more than that. Is it? Or is that just the excuse you tell yourself? Liam didn't have an answer for that. Because she was right. He'd been using their financial difference as a shield. A reason to keep distance. A way to avoid the terrifying vulnerability of actually trying. I've been in love with you since the day you showed up at my house with a toolbox and helped me fix Emma's crib, he said. You were wearing a suit that probably cost $3,000, and you sat on my garage floor and handed me screws like it was the most natural thing in the world. And I thought, this woman is so far out of my league I shouldn't even look at her directly. Liam, but I did look. I couldn't help it, and every day for 6 years, I fell a little more in love with you, with the way you remember Emma's favorite color. with how you argue about paint samples like they actually matter, with how you laugh at my terrible jokes and pretend my cooking is good when we both know it's mediocre at best. Vanessa's eyes were bright. Then why didn't you say anything? Because loving you felt like standing at the edge of a cliff. One step forward and everything changes. And I was so scared that you'd look at me, really look at me, and see a contractor who's doing his best but will never be enough. Never fit into your world. Never be the partner someone like you deserves. Someone like me. Brilliant, powerful, capable of anything. Lonely, Vanessa said quietly. Don't forget lonely. Successful and isolated and so desperate for someone to see me as more than my company that I fell for a con artist's lies. You're not desperate, you're human. So are you. But you've spent 6 years pretending you're not. Pretending you don't need anything, don't want anything, don't deserve anything. Vanessa crossed to him, close enough that he could see the tears tracking down her face. You told me I deserved someone who could give me everything, but what I needed was someone who already had. You've been giving me everything for 6 years. Your time, your friendship, your honesty about everything except the one thing that mattered most. I'm sorry. I know you are, and I'm sorry too, for falling for Julian's lies, for pushing you away when you tried to warn me, for not seeing that the home I was trying to build in this apartment was just a copy of what we already had together. They stood there in the apartment filled with furniture they'd chosen, beneath the green lamp they'd picked, surrounded by paint colors they'd debated. The space that was supposed to be Vanessa's escape had become a monument to everything they'd been too afraid to name. What happens now? Liam asked. I don't know. I'm angry at you for lying. You're probably angry at me for not listening. We've both made mistakes. A lot of them. But I don't want to keep making the same one. Vanessa's voice was barely a whisper. I don't want to spend the next 6 years pretending we're just friends when we're so much more than that. What are we? I don't know. Scared. Imperfect. Terrible at communication. She reached for his hand. But we're also real. And I'm tired of choosing perfect lies over messy truth. Liam looked at their hands, his calloused from years of construction work, hers smooth but strong. They fit together in a way that had nothing to do with money or status or any of the barriers he'd built between them. I can't promise you smooth, he said. I'm going to mess up, say the wrong thing, get scared and pull away. I know. I'm going to overthink everything, build walls when I should be building bridges. Forget that vulnerability isn't weakness. We're going to be a disaster. Probably. Vanessa smiled through her tears. But at least we'll be an honest disaster. Liam pulled her close. She came willingly, wrapping her arms around him like she'd been waiting 6 years for permission. He held her while she cried, while she shook, while the adrenaline and fear and relief finally broke through the composure she'd been holding on to. I almost lost everything, she said against his chest. But you didn't. You waited. You listened to your instincts. Nalan, my instincts were terrible. I dated a con artist. Your instincts made you hesitate before wiring the money. Made you call me when you were scared. Made you question what Julian was telling you even when you wanted to believe it. Liam pulled back enough to see her face. Your instincts are fine, or you just stopped trusting them because I made you doubt yourself. You didn't make me do anything. I told you to date him, pushed you towards someone I knew wasn't right because I was too scared to admit I wanted to be that person. You were protecting yourself. I understand that. Understanding doesn't make it hurt less. No, Vanessa agreed. It doesn't. They stood there in the fading afternoon light, holding each other in the middle of the apartment that had started as an escape and become something else entirely. A test, maybe. A mirror showing them what they'd been avoiding. Liam's phone buzzed. Detective Moss. I should take this, he said. Vanessa nodded, stepping back. Detective. Julian's lawyer showed up. They're not talking without immunity. We're working on it, but it's going to take time. What about Vanessa's money? If she didn't actually transfer it, there's nothing to recover. She didn't. She waited. Thank God for that. Look, we're going to keep him as long as we can. Dig into his finances. But between you and me, he might be right about the legal gray area. Everything he did was slimy, but technically defensible. So he just gets away with it? I didn't say that. We're building a case, but it's going to take months, maybe longer. Detective Moss paused. How's Vanessa? Liam looked at her standing by the window, arms wrapped around herself, staring at the city she owned pieces of, but had never quite felt at home in. She's processing, he said. Tell her I'm sorry. We tried to move faster. You did everything you could. After he hung up, Liam relayed the conversation to Vanessa. She listened without expression. So Julian might walk, she said. Maybe, but at least you didn't lose your money. Just my dignity, my judgment, my ability to trust people. You didn't lose those, they're just bruised. Vanessa laughed, but it sounded hollow. I'm a CEO who nearly got conned out of $1.5 million by a man I was dating. That's going to make a great headline. No one needs to know. Julian knows. Caroline knows. The police know. Eventually it'll get out. These things always do. Then we deal with it when it happens. We? Liam realized what he'd said, the presumption in it. If you want. I mean, you don't have to. I want, Vanessa interrupted. I want you here. I want us to figure out what this is. I want to stop being so careful all the time. Careful keeps you safe. Safe isn't the same as happy. It was something Liam was still learning, that safety and happiness sometimes pulled in opposite directions. That protecting yourself from hurt meant protecting yourself from joy, too. That 6 years of careful friendship had kept them both lonely. Emma's been asking about you, he said. I miss her. She misses you, too. Drew a picture of the three of us. Labeled you Auntie V. I'm not her aunt, eh? No, you're... Liam stopped, tried again. You're someone who matters to both of us. And I don't know what we call that yet, but we'll figure it out. Vanessa moved to the sofa, sat down heavily. I don't know how to do this. The honest version? The one where I admit I'm scared and lonely, and I made terrible choices because I wanted to feel wanted. Popish on me some smoties. You start by admitting it, which you just did. And then you keep going. You make mistakes. You apologize. You try again. Liam sat beside her. I don't have all the answers, Vanessa. I'm figuring this out, same as you. You always seemed so certain. I'm not. I'm terrified most of the time. That I'm screwing up Emma. That I'm one bad job away from financial disaster. That everyone's going to realize I have no idea what I'm doing and I've just been improvising for 32 years. You hide it well. So do you. They sat in silence, the kind of comfortable quiet they'd shared hundreds of times before. Except this time, there was no pretense, no careful distance. Just two people who'd finally stopped running from what they felt. I should go, Liam said eventually. Emma's with Mrs. Chen. I've been leaving her there too much lately. Bring her here. What? Tomorrow. Bring Emma here. We'll order pizza. Watch a movie. Be the three people from her drawing. Vanessa, you just went through a trauma. You don't have to. I want to. I want to do normal things with people I care about. Is that okay? Liam looked at her, really looked at her. At the vulnerability in her eyes, the hope underneath the fear. Yeah, he said. That's okay. So, Sunday afternoon, Liam and Emma climbed the 62 steps to Vanessa's apartment. Emma was vibrating with excitement, clutching a unicorn drawing she'd made that morning. Is Auntie V really not mad anymore? She asked for the 5th time. She was never mad at you, sweetheart. But she was mad at you? A little, but we talked about it. And now everything's okay? We're working on it. Emma seemed satisfied with that answer. She knocked on the door like she was announcing royalty. Vanessa answered in jeans and a sweater. No makeup, hair in a ponytail. She looked younger, more like herself. Emma, she said, and Emma launched herself into a hug. I missed you so much. I made you a picture. It's a unicorn wearing a crown because you're fancy but also magical. That's the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me. Vanessa looked at Liam over Emma's head. Hi. Did you say? It should have been awkward. It wasn't. It just felt like coming home. They ordered pizza from Emma's favorite place, watched a movie about a princess who saved herself, built a blanket fort in the living room because Emma insisted and Vanessa had apparently never built one before. You've never made a blanket fort. Emma was scandalized. I grew up with nannies. Blanket forts weren't really part of the program. That's so sad. Good thing I'm here to teach you. Liam watched his daughter instruct a billionaire on proper fort architecture, using the expensive furniture they'd chosen together as support structures. Vanessa followed Emma's directions seriously, asking questions about structural integrity and weight distribution that made Emma feel like an expert. After Emma fell asleep in the fort around 8, Liam carried her to the sofa, covered her with the throw blanket. Vanessa sat on the floor, watching her sleep. She's wonderful, Vanessa said quietly. She is. Takes after her mother in some ways, but mostly she's just purely herself. Where is her mother? It was a question Vanessa had never asked directly before. They danced around it for 6 years. San Francisco, remarried, 2 more kids. She sends birthday cards and calls on holidays. Emma's okay with it, or as okay as a kid can be when one parent chooses to leave. That must have been hard for both of you. It was. But we figured it out. One day at a time, same way we'll figure out everything else. Vanessa looked at him. Are we really doing this? You and me? I don't know what this is yet, but yeah, we're doing it. I'm going to be bad at it, at being vulnerable, at letting you see the parts of me that aren't polished. Good. I like the unpolished parts best. You haven't seen them yet. I've seen you cry over paint samples, argue with furniture store owners about joinery, laugh so hard at my terrible jokes that wine came out your nose. I've seen plenty of unpolished. Liam reached for her hand. The difference is now we're admitting it matters, that we matter to each other as more than friends. I loved being your friend. We can still be friends, just friends who kiss sometimes, and tell each other the truth, and stop pretending we're not in love. Vanessa's breath caught. You love me. I thought that was obvious by now. Say it anyway, out loud, so I know it's real. I love you, Vanessa Sinclair. I've loved you for 6 years. I'll probably love you for 6 more, or 60, or however long I get. The tears came then, but they looked different than yesterday's, less like grief, more like relief. I love you too, she whispered, and I'm terrified. Me too. What if we ruin everything? Then we'll ruin it together, but at least we'll have tried. Liam pulled her close, kissed her forehead, her cheeks, the corner of her mouth, waited for her to close the distance. When she did, it felt like every moment of the past 6 years had been leading here, to this apartment, this kiss, this choice to stop being safe and start being honest. It wasn't smooth. Their teeth clicked. Vanessa laughed against his mouth. They adjusted, tried again, got it right enough. Emma stirred on the sofa. They broke apart, suddenly aware they were making out next to a sleeping 7-year-old. We should probably not do that with her here, Liam said. Probably not. But later? Definitely later. They sat together on the floor, backs against the sofa, Emma sleeping above them. The green lamp glowed in the corner. The white oak coffee table held the remains of pizza and Emma's art supplies. The apartment felt lived in now, real. Thank you, Vanessa said. For what? For not giving up on me, even when I was too stubborn to listen. You weren't stubborn, you were protecting yourself. I get that. I also want to thank you for being honest, finally, even though it was terrifying. It was terrifying, still is, but worth it. Liam looked at her, at the woman who owned buildings but had been searching for a home, who had everything money could buy but had been missing the things it couldn't, who'd taken a chance on a friendship that scared her and then taken a bigger chance on making it something more. Yeah, he said, definitely worth it. Mom. 3 months later, Liam was installing crown molding in a house in Selwood when Vanessa called. They got him, she said. Who? Julian, the police. They found evidence of wire fraud, communications with offshore accounts showing intent to defraud. He's being arrested. That's amazing. How do you feel? Relieved, angry, vindicated, all of it. Vanessa paused. Caroline called me this morning. She's getting some of her money back. Not all of it, but something. That's good. She said I should be proud. That stopping Julian before he took my money helped build the case that caught him. that my waiting probably saved other women from being his next targets. But you should be proud. I don't feel proud. I feel lucky and stupid for not seeing it sooner. You saw it in time. That's what matters. They talked for a few more minutes, made plans for dinner. Vanessa mentioned Emma had a science project due and maybe they could work on it together. Normal things, domestic things, the kind of things Liam had imagined but never quite believed would happen. After they hung up, Liam went back to the crown molding. But his mind was elsewhere, on Vanessa, on Emma, on the life they were building together piece by piece. It wasn't perfect. Vanessa still overworked. Liam still pulled away when things got too vulnerable. They argued about money and time and how to balance their different worlds. But they were trying, learning, figuring it out. 2 weeks later, they were back at Timber and Grain. Marcus greeted them like old friends. "The Carters, back for more furniture?" Liam and Vanessa exchanged a look. Neither corrected him this time. "Actually," Vanessa said, "we're looking at dining tables, something that seats 8. Planning dinner parties? Planning a life." She reached for Liam's hand. "One that needs a bigger table." Marcus showed them options. They debated wood types and finishes and how much overhang was appropriate. It felt familiar, easy, like something they'd been doing together forever instead of something they were just beginning. When Marcus called them husband and wife again, casually, while writing up the order, Liam caught Vanessa's eye. "Not yet," Liam said, but this time he was smiling. This time, it felt like a promise instead of a denial. Vanessa smiled back. "Not yet." They left the store with an order for a dining table that wouldn't arrive for 3 months. Walked to Liam's truck, hand in hand. Drove to pick up Emma from school. "Dad," Emma said, climbing into the back seat. "Auntie V, are we all having dinner together?" "We are," Vanessa said. "At my apartment. I'm making pasta." "You're making it? Like cooking?" "Well, don't sound so surprised. You burned water last week." "That was an isolated incident." Liam caught Vanessa's eye in the rearview mirror. She was laughing. Really laughing. The kind that reached her eyes and made her look 10 years younger. They stopped at the grocery store. Emma insisted on riding in the cart even though she was too big for it. Vanessa pushed while Liam gathered ingredients. They looked like a family, felt like one too. That night, in Vanessa's apartment above the river, they made dinner together. Vanessa didn't burn anything. Emma set the table using the nice dishes. Liam poured wine for the adults, sparkling cider for Emma. They sat at the temporary table Vanessa had bought, waiting for the real one to arrive. Ate pasta that was slightly overcooked, laughed at Emma's stories about school, made plans for the weekend. It was ordinary, simple. Nothing like the grand romance Liam had imagined or the perfect life Vanessa thought she needed. It was better, because it was real. Messy and complicated and built on a foundation of friendship that had survived 6 years of fear and doubt and finally evolved into something that looked like love. After Emma fell asleep in the blanket fort that had become a permanent fixture, Liam and Vanessa stood by the windows overlooking the city. "I've been thinking," Vanessa said, "about the apartment, how we built it together, how it was supposed to be my escape but it became our beginning instead. It's a good space." "It is, but it's too small for 3 people." Liam's heart stuttered. "Are you saying, gee..." "I'm saying maybe we look for something bigger. Something that's ours. Not mine. Not yours. Ours. That's a big step." "I know. Too fast?" "Maybe. Probably." Liam pulled her closer. "But when has that ever stopped us?" Vanessa laughed against his chest. "We're really bad at taking things slow. Terrible at it. Should we try harder?" "Probably not. We'd just fail anyway." They stood there, watching the city lights reflect off the river, planning a future that terrified them both. But this time, the fear felt different. Not like something to run from, more like something to run toward. Because loving someone, really loving them, meant risking everything. Meant choosing messy truth over safe distance. Meant building a home not out of furniture and paint colors, but out of honesty and vulnerability and the daily choice to keep showing up. It meant accepting that sometimes the person you've been looking for has been standing next to you the entire time, waiting for you to be brave enough to see them. And sometimes, if you're incredibly lucky, You get a second chance to build something real. Liam and Vanessa had wasted 6 years being careful, being safe, being friends when they wanted to be more. They weren't going to waste another day. The apartment they'd built together had taught them something important. That home wasn't about square footage or river views or expensive furniture. Home was about the people who filled the space, the laughter that echoed off the walls, the memories created in ordinary moments. Home was Emma asleep in a blanket fort, Vanessa learning to cook, Liam finally brave enough to love out loud. Home was choosing each other, every day, in all the messy, imperfect, beautiful ways that actually mattered. 3 months after that, when the dining table finally arrived and they'd found a house with space for all 3 of them, Liam proposed. Not with a grand gesture or a perfect moment, just the 2 of them, standing in an empty living room deciding what color to paint the walls. "Warm beige," Vanessa said, "to balance the northern light. You remember that? I remember everything about building that apartment with you. Every choice, every conversation, every moment I should have realized I was in love with you. And now? Now I'm not missing any more moments." Vanessa turned to face him fully. "Now I'm all in." "Good." Liam pulled the ring from his pocket. It wasn't expensive, couldn't be, on a contractor's salary. But it was real. "Then marry me, not someday, not eventually. Actually marry me." Vanessa's eyes filled with tears. "That's the worst proposal I've ever heard." "It's the only one you're getting. Then I guess I have to say yes." "You guess." "I'm saying yes, you idiot. Of course I'm saying yes." The ring fit perfectly. They kissed in the empty room that would become their shared home. Made plans for a small wedding, for a life together. For all the ordinary, extraordinary moments still waiting to be built. Emma found them an hour later, still standing in the empty room, holding each other. "Did you pick a paint color yet?" she asked. "Warm beige," they said in unison. "Boring. You should do purple." "A purple? It's my favorite color. Auntie V knows that." Vanessa laughed. "You're right. I do know that. Purple accent wall? Deal." They painted the wall purple. All 3 of them. Got more paint on themselves than the wall. Laughed until their sides hurt. Ordered pizza because cooking felt too complicated after a day of painting. And somewhere in the middle of it all, the paint splatter and the laughter and the incredibly normal domesticity of it, Liam realized something. The home he'd been trying to build his entire life had never been about walls or roofs or crown molding installed perfectly straight. It had always been about this. About people who chose each other despite the fear. About love that was honest enough to be messy. About building something real instead of something perfect. 6 years ago, a furniture store owner had mistaken them for husband and wife, and Liam had laughed it off. Had treated it like a joke because the truth felt too dangerous to touch. Now, standing in a purple-splattered living room with his daughter and his future wife, Liam understood what he should have known all along. The best things in life weren't the ones you planned perfectly. They were the ones you built together, piece by piece, mistake by mistake, brave choice by brave choice. And sometimes, if you were very lucky and very honest and very willing to be scared, those things looked like home.